Hailing frequencies are open. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Last Excelsior, our Star Trek Adventures 2nd Edition live play here on Althaven, Twitch, and YouTube. I ain't gonna forget our YouTube folks. It's good to see everybody. Welcome back. It's November. It's unbelievable saying this, but the year is almost over. How in the living hell did that happen? We don't know. Not too many announcements on my end tonight as we kick things off. Just to remind you, if you get a chance, if you are watching this, it's likely that you like Star Trek and that you're a fan of things Star Trek. And there are things about Star Trek that we all particularly enjoy, particularly the hope punk aspect of Star Trek that we all love dearly. The science, their exploration, the fellowship, the acceptance, the progress, etc., etc. For the love of God, vote is what I'm trying to get at. For the love of God, tomorrow, for all that is right and just in this world, please, 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 if you have not yet, please, please, please go and vote.
More eligible, it is logical to vote.
Yes, yeah. That is correct. That is the only announcement I have onto which to toss at everybody this evening. Aside from the fact that by the end of November, we're going to have a... No. I'm going to hold off on that. I'll wait until next Monday night to give you that. Let me toss this off to anybody else. I'll go ahead and say that much. Hi, Drac.
Hi, yeah, I was waiting for you to notice how I snuck in.
It's just so natural. I just figured you're always at this practical station at this point. So yes, welcome, Drac, who is joining us full time now. Drac is going to be joining the cast of The Last Excelsior, so everyone please welcome Drac. Eliza is going to be stepping back to focus on work because Eliza, as we here at the StreamPunks have been noting every single session that we have played, Eliza is juggling a lot of plates right now. And like Bonnie, has decided that it's probably for the best to jump in when guest starring roles present themselves. So we're going to be making that switch. I will be taking over as Commander Hata Ben, and Hata will be henceforth for now is going to be played as a supporting character, and you will be joining us, if I remember correctly, Drac, you will be back with us as your tactical officer.
Yes, Tayon.
Right on. Okay, cool. So welcome aboard. It's good that it finally happened. After chasing Drac for so long and Drac refusing to take my phone calls and telling me to go away, finally.
You wore me down, you know.
That's all I have for my announcements. Would anybody else like to make any announcements before we kick things off tonight? Go ahead. Yeah.
Piggybacking on just democracy is make sure to look into your local, all of your local people, not just the presidential stuff. You should look into your city council. You should look into all of your the education stuff in your area. You should look into all of the housing people. You should look at just everything. You should know everything about all of your small people, not just the two big names at the top of the ticket. And that goes for obviously the United States happening tomorrow, but also for the rest of the world. Just get in the know with your local people who are making change, because supporting
logical as fuck.
Supporting them goes a really long way, and that's all I wanted to add.
Excellent. Thank you, Caitlin. Anybody else have any announcements they'd like to make before we kick things off tonight? Yes, Noir.
Just want to join in on the chorus of "Please, for the love of God, vote."
The love of all that is holy in this world, if there's anything left.
And if you, I'll put a Blue Sky and Twitter post up tonight. If you comment with a picture of your voting sticker or voting card, I will put you in a raffle for free Noir merch. Noirville merch. It'll go to one person. And also, thank you guys for joining me on all the streams I've been doing lately. It's been pretty freaking dope.
Uh-oh. No, sorry.
My
mind off. There's nothing. I was just, sorry. Thank you, Noir. That's great. And I really appreciate it. I'm sorry. I was thinking of incentives to get people to vote. I thought that was really kind and very clever and really cool. And then I started thinking about a movie called UHF where they were having a car sales, and his way of selling cars was, if you don't come down right now, he's going to club a baby seal. And it just shows the seal being super happy and nodding yes. And I was just thinking, wouldn't it be great? Anyway, so anyway.
If we push people to vote, we can maybe avoid idiocracy becoming a real life, because I do not want President Camacho.
I don't know though, but electrolytes, I don't know what to say.
It's what plants want.
Yeah. Wow. Did you all see Sam spike to 10 right now? Just Sam, would you have any announcements you'd like to make before we kick off our Star Trek Adventures episode
Brock,
series?
do you have anything first?
Yeah, sure. Since it's November, I can talk a little bit more about it. I was one of the writers over on Paizo who wrote the book that's coming out on November 20th. Lost Omens and Mysteries. I got to write, and honestly, I'll be honest, straight up just rewrite some of the gods that you're going to see in there. Can't talk about which ones just yet, but if you do like Pathfinder 2nd edition and want to check it out. Tag me when you have it and let me know what your gods are, your favorite. If they're the gods I wrote, thank you. If not, that's fine. They're other amazing writers as well. But I'm very excited to see everyone get their hands on it. It was very fun getting to add to the lore of Pathfinder.
Excellent. You shall now be known as Drac the Godmaker.
Oh, don't.
I like that. No, I like that. I think that's just it.
So, this is going to be good. I knew inviting Noir's arch enemy into the game was going to be a good move.
Can I crash the Excelsior?
Yeah.
Just take us both out.
That's fun. All right.
So funny because before we got on stream, I was like, Drek, don't worry. Any room that I'm in, everyone will love you. And then Noir got on and was like, what the hell are you doing here?
Yeah. What the
So I see I've been outvoted.
I need everyone on this ship to turn their phasers off stun right now.
Oh, were we supposed to have stun on?
You're like, wait, I've been using a disruptor this whole time. Sam, what do you got? What do you got for us?
Well, I will echo my fellow U.S. residents in a call to vote, and to all of the international folks who can't actually respond to these particular calls to action. All I can say is on behalf of the Americans here in this show, we're going to try not to fuck this up.
Yeah.
We're really going to try.
We're all hoping we don't have a lot of apologies to make to the world by the end of this week.
Dog diggity dangdest. But in the meantime, we get to go someplace much more lovely and utopian, and where the corrupting influence of capitalism has not yet reached.
Spice!
That's right. And while we're there, we're doing some effing science. We're doing some science about it in real life. In fact, we are sending mini organs to space. Mini organs, little hearts on a chip, kidneys on a chip, little brain organoids. Why? Why are we sending mini organoids to space? Look, you had me from the pitch. It sounds awesome, but what science are we doing about it? Find out on the latest episode of May Contain Science over on my channel, youtube.com/@Delevely, DELEVELY.
Awesome. All right. Well, with that, let's go ahead and pick up where we left off last week's episode of The Last Excelsior. Welcome back to the Last Excelsior. Let's go ahead and get underway with doing a quick recap. The USS Pride, in the process of investigating this bizarre piece of metal that you have found, learning that it was part of the hull of a Vorcha-class Klingon vessel, you've all been pulled away from the investigation site because of an emergency situation that has begun to develop pretty far from here in the Mooney Kappa system. As a quick recap to this, a planetary atmospheric station that the Federation is in control of, known as Outpost 8 or Babysitter Station, has been experiencing some issues for months now because it, like so many other stations in the Beta Quadrant, it is currently suffering from a lack of attention because the Federation and everybody are so strained right now in all their resources because of the massive operation that's being undergone with the impending explosion of the Hobus star. The Federation is stretched quite thin, and stations like Babysitter Station have been calling for help for some time and have not gotten it. It's fine. They just need supplies and personnel to come maintenance the station and do essentials and bring supplies. Things have changed. In the short amount of time to which you were directed to Mooney Kappa Station, which is, by the way, as a quick reminder, you are all members of the reserve fleet. So this is kind of what you were all gearing up to do. You knew you were going to be running around and doing tasks like this. You bought as much time for yourselves as possible to research this hull plating that you had all discovered until you were contacted by Starfleet again to let you all know that Babysitter Station is in a state of dire emergency. Things have gone from inconvenient to life-threatening in a very short amount of time. What you've learned is this upper atmosphere station in this ice giant, also known as MK5 in the system, has begun to experience massive power fluctuations and failures in its power grid. It's caused the system, the entire station, to begin to list. What makes matters worse is the station actually has a detached, something like a bridge separation in terms of there's a second half of the station that can detach and actually lower into the atmosphere to get better readings of the ice giant and the storm system that has been raging on this ice giant for the past 2 million years. One of the study, the kite is what they call it, basically lowers down deeper into the atmosphere. It's a dangerous thing. If you have full power, not so much. Running low on power, an ice giant, the scale of the planet itself makes the gravity incredibly intense on top of the storms. It's in danger right now. Apparently the kite has been detached and is in danger of possibly disconnecting and plummeting. Now, your orders were to report to the Mooney Kappa system, specifically to the MK5 ice giant, and render any assistance as possible. I'm going to go ahead and give you your mission directive again, which is pretty broad. It's big. Render aid to Outpost 8, also known as Babysitter Station, and ensure the safety of the personnel and the outpost itself. However, your priority is personnel. Starfleet wants to rescue the people inside. Equipment and lab and all that stuff would be great to save, but don't risk lives over it. Do what you can, but it's personnel first. Quick recap too, because Drac, this might be relevant, but it's just in case you're wondering why it's called Babysitter Station. It is located in the Sigma Bantesh Stellar Nursery. So out here from this particular world, apparently there is an excellent view in the night sky of newborn stars that light up this place, and has become the perfect spot for an interstellar telescope to study and sensor sweep these newborn stars. Okay, so as a quick reminder, you have arrived in system. You plotted a course, you headed over there at warp 8, so you got there within 8 hours. You've rested up as much as you can, and you've started to put together something of a plan to try to work this out. What you know for a fact is there's a couple of traits. Caitlin, you listed them right before we went live. I'll list them again here in a second. But as a reminder to what you all saw on the view screen, it changed and displayed the station from the station display of the standard systems readout of the view screen. and switched over to a magnificent image of an ice giant lit by its own yellow sun, as well as the brilliance of thousands of newborn stars that make up the stellar nursery in the background. It's quite the sight. So great are their number that their light causes a rare refractory effect on the ice giant below, causing massive, essentially like sheets of light to burst through the clouds, kind of like dabbling in the opposite direction up towards space. And it gives the planet, this spherical planet, almost the look of like a large glowing sapphire, the way it kind of glows. There's also, even from orbit, you can see the storms of this world. The air here is so, the atmosphere is so thick that you can see the scale of some of these clouds stretching into the upper atmosphere and vanishing down below. And these storms are, I would say, thousands of miles in diameter. Some of them are absolutely, there's no spot you can see with the naked eye that you can see the surface of this ice giant. So incredible storm activity at different levels of the atmosphere. You did manage to get in touch with the station staff. And as a quick reminder, you got in contact with a woman named Dr. Kaleem Niana. You had brief contact with her. Elderly Bajoran woman. At least that was supposed to be her name. Did I give you a different name?
I have in my notes a Denobulan woman named Dr. Vizina.
Oh, switch that up. Sorry about that. Because one of the mistakes that I made in our last game was accidentally pulled some of my old GM notes by default before I switched it out. So her, just make that a quick name switch. Her, Dr. Kaleem Niana. She is the head of the station. She's an elderly Bajoran woman that's taken over everything else is the same. She took over as acting station coordinator when the station coordinator originally had died, has passed away. Apparently was one of the few that had been injured. So I'll retcon the name, and apologies for that. Always easier to do it above table as a GM than try to fit it back in. But yes, Dr. Kaleem Niana, and she got in touch with all of you to let you know what the station, thanks to some really good rolls, you managed to fight through some of the communication interference, and you got a snapshot of the way things are unfolding right now on the station. She's told you that there's roughly 60 or so people on board the station, and there have been injuries, no fatalities except for Dr. Savet, who was the station head, unfortunately. They do not know the status of the other people that are down below on the station, on the kite. They have had no contact with them. They cannot raise them on comms. But the kite is still attached to the station, and you have the way the kite is attached to a station is essentially through like an energy ribbon, almost like a tractor beam. And they have been diverting a lot of their remaining power to keeping the tractor beam on, but it is starting to threaten their station now as well. So we're going to go ahead and pick up with the communications getting cut off and scrambled. You guys have free reign now. You have an idea of what the situation is as you all linger above the planet. If you have any questions or anything you want to get filled on, or if there's any changes you want to inquire about, just let me know. But Noir, you have the con.
Final thing I have in my notes is that Tech is on the kite presently.
Oh, thank you for reminding me. Yes, Tech is on the station somewhere. Apparently he arrived at some point. And
arrived a day ago, attempted to board the kite, not answering hails.
Right.
All right. So very quickly, above table, I know that we came up with a strategy. I do recall birds are going to strengthen transport signal, and we start working on getting personnel from station to our ship, getting them out first and foremost. Is that correct?
I believe so.
Captain, I'm not going to lie. I'm pretty sure that those ionic pulse waves and the lightning put the birds at risk, but if Tactical can reel me in with a tractor every so often, like so many fish, we can at least get a try at it, because I think the birds will have better luck in Atmo than a ship that's not rated for it.
I also, if I recall correctly, engineering was building a device that would make the lightning attracted to us to give you a reprieve. Is that correct?
You wanted engineering to craft a probe or something that would channel the lightning back in, and basically,
Yeah.
what's that, Caitlin?
Other directions, basically, to like
Right. Yeah.
Right.
we have a trait called shield modulation, which was the one thing that had gotten done prior, which would gave us a trait to be up against the ionic storm system. In the time
protect from damage,
and then towards the end of our journey, we had the conversation about maybe doing some kind of like probe or something we can send out to try to like draw that energy into a certain area to give us kind of like a part in the clouds to either give us or the birds room to work.
Correct. Also, as a quick reminder, and also, Drac, if you hadn't written this down yet, there are 3 traits for the station right now. For the audience to also know, you have Ionic Interference 3, you have Deadly Winds 3, and Station Instability. It is worth noting that the station itself does currently have its shields, which protect it from the worst of the environmental effects, are still functioning, but are weakened. Which means if you do need to go through with doing the exterior repair, which is still on the docket of things to do to help stabilize the station, no one's going to be immediately blown off the hull of the ship. It's going to be windy, but it's not going to be dangerous per se. You won't have Deadly Winds 3 to contend with, so long as the shields stay active. Yeah. So.
All right. Well, in that case, I would, since we're at essentially mission start, I'd like to pull a rally.
Okay.
And I just like to tell the team, all right, everybody. This is technically only our second mission, and we've got quite an adventure ahead of us. We've got the best minds in Starfleet and the most tenacious officers, pilots, and minds at work. There's a lot of good people in danger, and there's even better people here to help them. So do what you can, work together, think clearly, and don't be afraid to ask for help. We've got this, pride. Now let's go get them. And I am going to roll my command presence.
Excellent. This is to gain momentum to start us off with, because you guys have 0 momentum right now.
Which actually we get 1 because of.
Oh, you get 1 automatically?
Crew.
Oh, sweet.
We start with 0. We automatically get 1.
Oh,
As
very
long as
nice.
I'm here.
Yep.
All right, that is going to be 3 because I did hit. I rolled a 4 and a 13, and it does play with my focus team dynamics. So that is 3 momentum for us, for a total of 4.
Nice.
So y'all are 5 momentum at the top of the game. 4?
4.
You
3 from Noir. You started with 1, and then we got 3 from Noir.
Gotcha. Okay, so you counted that one. Okay, so I'll have to 4 momentum. Good way to start.
I think just as they finish their railing speech, you hear the doors slide open as Taeyeon walks in and just says, "If I wasn't determined before, I'm sure I'm determined now, and I'm going to take my seat behind the tactical station."
Okay, you take the tactical station. All right.
Commander Taeyeon, I hope you're ready to play catch just in case our birds get dropped out of the sky.
I'll be hand-eye coordination, probably the best on this ship. Don't worry, I've got this.
Then I won't. Just sits in the chair.
Okay. What's the first plan of attack? What are y'all planning on doing? You've just established orbit around the planet.
You have eyeline on the through the front screens. Can we see the station from where we're at?
Yeah, usually using like any kind of sensor screening like feedback, it's a little difficult because of all the interference. However, you can do a zoom on the main screen and you will get a big overview because it is visible from the atmosphere. So you will be able to essentially just bring in magnification to see it. Go ahead.
I was get confirmation. I did a little drawing for myself, but I want to make sure that I'm reading it correctly. The station itself sits on that the outer edge of between space and the atmosphere, and then the kite drops not quite halfway down between the surface and the.
Yeah, Excelsior can snuggle to the station was what we established.
Okay, that's what it was. Okay.
Yep.
Want to make sure that I had that in my head.
Yeah, that is not too atmospheric for an Excelsior class.
Yeah, so to give you an idea, the station itself is probably just below the exosphere. So it's quite high up. It's not quite space, but it's getting there. The kite drops a little bit closer into the mesosphere, just above the stratosphere. So it is pretty far down, but not irretrievably so. The gravitational force at that altitude at the ice giant, though, is substantial. But yes, to give you an idea. I actually have a graphic I can toss y'all that I have been using here. I will put this in the Discord chats so that y'all have a little bit more of a. I'm going to throw this into the GMs to players chat because I almost never use it. There we go. That'll give you a better idea.
Thank you.
So thermosphere, and they're in the mesosphere. So one level down. I'm wondering if I would share it with our audience, but I just don't even know how to do that since I'm actually not the TD. So.
I mean, it could go in the.
Oh yeah, I could throw it into the StreamPunks Discord.
Yeah, or the Althaven Discord too.
Yeah. Let's do that.
All right, Kate. And while we're working on that, just above table, my plan was to scramble an away team to have on the station, then scramble the birds to strengthen the teleportation. That way we start repairs and evacuation at the same time. Thoughts, ideas?
Oh, that sounds good to me.
Bird limitations that would be difficult at any part of that.
Not that I'm hearing.
Yeah, I'm looking at the evacuation specialist fighter.
Where Caden's gonna be.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping for, because that one selects one trait in play that negatively affects transporter task and gets rid of it.
Woohoo!
Yep. So that eventually, once I get down to the kite, ionic interference is cordially invited to go do some unmentionable activities.
And we've got our tactical ready to catch you, which is just a really cool visual in my head, just in case. In case.
More than just in case. Very likely. It wouldn't go amiss,
different show.
Captain. And this is Cadence just getting ready, and talking into their communicator while they're starting to get into the evacuation specialist, getting Peaches moved over to this ship now. It wouldn't be a terrible idea to have my deck crew on standby. We might need to repair this little bird more than once, depending on how well those probes draw the lightning away from me.
Well, Commander, you don't want your team to start getting used to taking orders directly from me now, did you?
Does that mean I get the deck crew?
You get the deck crew.
Hey, Santos, I have good news for you. And they just hop in their cockpit.
Okay. All right. Ionic interference 3. I have to write this down now because you guys might pull some player nonsense and get rid of my traits.
Oh, I mean, we will, but, you know, when and how, still in the air.
Yeah.
Yeah. Deadly Winds. Which sounds like an old Wuxia title.
That was
let's
not
see.
where I
Actually
went
does,
with
yeah.
it. Brilliant.
Okay. Okay, cool. All right, so heading down into the cargo bay, also known as the flight deck, aboard the USS Pride.
I'm loaded up, ready to go.
All right.
Okay.
Before we give you the green light, I'm gonna look to Hata. And all right, Hata, do you feel can you scramble up an away team full of with those capable of rendering assistance to Chief Tactic? I'll never get that right. Could you round up a team to go help him?
Tech is correct, Captain.
All right, then we're making headway. I feel good about this one.
Very well. And Hata stands up and looks directly at the chief, at the tactical officer, and says, Lieutenant Commander Teon.
Come on.
And then glances over and looks briefly, just ever briefly at Tavine, and then says, keep your station, Lieutenant. The Excelsior will need your help up here, I think.
Yes, Commander.
And with that, Hata begins to move towards the turbolift, tapping on her communicator, and says, Lieutenant Commander Pavin, please meet me in Transporter Room 1. And steps into the turbolift with the security officer and closes.
May the prophets guide you, Commander. All right. So, now it's just about striking up the band. Commander Cadence, you have the green. The birds are clear to fly.
Aye, sir. Leaving the nest.
Quick question is, this is about to happen. Anybody who would like to activate a supporting character for the away team may do so. You don't have to, but you have options. Because there is one more slot still available for the away team. Otherwise, it'll just be a yellow shirt Ox crew member.
Could I above table ask how I guess it doesn't, we don't really know. Maybe we send Baya? Do we think having
Baya,
another character down there?
we could do that. It's also worth pointing out that Lieutenant Commander Selma Conway is going to be open to be played as well. So anybody who wants to play the Chief Medical Officer, they do have injuries over there. Otherwise, it would just be a member of the medical staff. So that's also available. And Baya, Pavin is going to be over there as well.
I'm just trying to say if I'm going to be...
Sure.
If Baya goes, then there will be lovely engineering to do. If Tavine is here, then
That's
there's
true.
probably going to be some maneuvering. There's
That's
no
fair.
place where you aren't useful, but
That's
also
true.
your characters.
That's true. Okay.
We've got heel babyface energy throughout this entire party, and I'm here for it.
In which case, unless you guys have
I'm
any
done.
objection to it, both of Elise's characters are going to head over to the station.
Heck
So,
yeah.
Simo and the EXO are headed over there.
We love you, Lisa.
So, yeah. Commander Conway is ordered to report to Transporter Room 1, and the away team is headed over there. Down in the hangar deck, you see those great doors begin to open. And, of course, you see the great horizon of this ice giant. Now, to give you a sense of scale of the ice giant itself, clackety, clackety, clackety. I just like big clacky keyboards. They're not always great when you're running games, but I do enjoy them.
Nah, making people listen to it is a power move. I respect it.
This planet is just shy of the size of Jupiter. to give you a sense of how large it is. So when those cargo bay doors open, you get to see the great horizon of this world in front of you out on the backdrop of space, this glowing sapphire. It is so large that it almost just looks like a straight lined horizon stretching out across your field of view, which right now is currently, to your left. As the team is powering up their peregrines, you can hear Marceau just go, okay, just remember, if you lose any power to your initial dampeners and end up vomiting all over your consoles, you will be cleaning it up yourself. That job does not go to Santos. So if the ride gets bumpy and you lose it in your bird, you are the one cleaning that up. And you hear murmurs of confirmation from the rest of the wing. And one by one, you see the peregrines as everyone begins to take off.
All right, leaving the nest. Cadence to sensor jock. Where are we at with that lightning rod probe? Is that sent out yet?
Pavin, who is currently approaching the transporter room 1, taps on his communicator and responds and says, oh, Commander, yes, sorry, I meant to actually get in touch with you before you left the ship. But yeah, the probes are ready. We have 4 that we can use. Basically, the way this is going to work, Commander, is every time the Pride is going to sense a buildup of ionic charges in the upper atmosphere, we'll have a few moments of warning, and the Pride will be able to fire off one of these probes. It should draw off the worst of the ionic energy. Unfortunately, I could only get 4 made in the time scale that we needed it, but it's a great sort of emergency situation if it gets bad. Otherwise, the peregrines should do okay. The shields are nothing to sniff at.
We will see what we can do.
Yeah. Good luck. I'm going to go try to save a listing station from falling into a crushing death.
Yeah, not gonna lie. Rather be me than you.
Yeah.
Then I'm in this bird, so.
Right. Well, you're not about to
zoom.
you take down into the lower atmosphere. There's a little bit of turbulence at first, and then it is surprisingly calm as you all enter the upper atmosphere. You get visual on the station right away. Up ahead. As you hear,
all right, Wing, hang back. We don't want everyone's shields to all get wasted in one blast. We're going to rotate if we have to, which means we need some of us to have some fresh systems. Please do not get hit by an ionic pulse wave. Do not get hit by lightning. You know what? Don't get hit by things. Fly well.
Fly well. So you hear clicks on the comms from your wing acknowledging the order. As you begin to descend further into the atmosphere, this place looks like the most beautiful deadly light show. The clouds are an ashen gray color with swirls of pure white mist flowing through them as all the different gases are intermixing up here in the upper atmosphere, giving it this beautiful marbled smoky look. But the scale is spectacular because these are multiple storms that have all combined. It almost looks like you're flying into the eye of multiple hurricanes that are in orbit of one another. So you get this incredible view, Cadence, from just looking outside the flight deck window where you can see kilometers down into these columns of clouds that are swirling, each one easily large enough to put Earth's moon in the center of it and still have room to spare. And the sheer size is staggering. And this is one of the smaller storms. As you're approaching the station, though, you hear over the comms in sort of the whispered voice, Lieutenant Rulon just go, whoa. And you see the station indeed listing 30 degrees. It looks like it is a station that is of similar build, almost like Narendra, where it is something like half of a station. So it looks like the upper part of a typical Federation station. Not unusual to see something like this because the Federation likes to repurpose stations that it might need to move around the galaxy from time to time. But it's not quite the same scale. It's a little bit smaller. Station-wise, I would say the station scale is about 6 from what you can see. So pretty large, but not anywhere near as large as Narendra Station. But you do see that it looks like there is a column of energy, this fluctuating column of energy that is emitting from the bottom of the listing station, which you know is the tractor beam that has been activated. What's a little disconcerting is how you see it disappear into the swirling clouds down below. There's no sign of the kite from this atmosphere from up here. You cannot see anything down there.
Oh, good. That's not menacing at all.
You hear a chirping alarm on your comms, on your computer systems. You see popping up on the L cars, just an alert that the hull stress from turbulence in the outside is peaking at just above normal levels, indicating that if it goes into a scale of green, yellow, red, you are just now, if this was like your sound bar, you're just peaking into yellow right now, indicating that you've definitely hit choppy air and you're not feeling it.
Good. We are at condition lime.
Yep. And you see the station up ahead. It looks like it has a couple of docking ports, and one of the docking rings looks like it is currently extended, but lopsided. It looks like there are two, it looks like prongs that come out to the side that extend what could possibly be a bridge or a docking bridge that might connect to something, or perhaps a ship or maybe a cargo ship. It looks like the two docking rings that extend outwards, one of them is extended farther than the other one. And yes, the station is tilting. You know from just looking outside your window, Cadence, that tilt looks somewhat gentle from this point of view, but inside that must have caused chaos.
All right. Roland, bring the sensor scout around and get the best imaging that you can to send back to the pride of this station. That's probably going to be useful to Commander Even and the rest of the away team. Send that back to Sensor Jock.
Copy that, Commander. Launching sensor now. You see just on the corner of your eye to starboard, this red streak just launch out and go spinning off into the clouds. Looks like a bright blue star. And it swoops down towards the station. It begins to swoop around. The interior of your peregrine lights up, flashes for a second. Shadows cast. You see the actinic brilliance of lightning strikes in distant clouds. And you hear coming through the comms as this is happening, the sound of a very, almost with some awe and excitement in their voice, Lieutenant of Raleigh go, Commander, just letting you know that there is increased ionic activity in your area where you are right now. We're keeping a good tab on it, but if you're seeing a lot of lightning strikes, that's all that is. It's nothing to worry about. We'll let you know if it gets dangerous, and we'll launch the probe.
All right. Thank you for the weather report. Much appreciated.
Meanwhile, back at Transporter Room 1, stepping up onto the transporter pad, you see the Chief Medical Officer, Lieutenant Commander Selma Conway, step up onto the pad with the XO, Commander Hata, of course, joined by your Trill Chief Engineer, Commander Pavin, stepping up with his gear, satchel, the whole bit, all ready to go. As you step up onto the pad, Pavin leans over to you and goes, hey, this is going to be our first away mission together, and I just wanted to apologize in advance because you're probably the one that's going to be coming with me out onto the exterior of the station to repair things. I hope you're good with that. Are you good with that? Wait, hold on. Are you actually rated to do that? You can do that, right? And he looks directly at you, Tan. You can do that? You're going to be okay to do that?
Yes, no, I'll be okay to do that. Don't you worry.
Okay. I just didn't actually get a personnel readout here, so sure. With that, did you have anything?
I'll just go. You seem stressed. We don't need stress right now. Just breathe.
I don't mind dangerous situations. It's falling out of the sky and getting crushed. That's kind of nerve-wracking, but yeah, this is our first away mission together. You'll probably learn that this is how I always am.
Don't worry. I've worked with some people a lot like you. Don't worry. I'll keep you safe. You'll keep me safe. I've got this.
Hata says, if you're all ready, Ensign Zoe, energize. Zoe nods. What's up? You are muted.
Software muted.
Sorry about that. Is Taeyeon on the away team? Because I thought Tactical was the one that was going to catch the paragraphs if they fall out of the sky.
Quick question. I apologize because I was taking the notes of the traits. What was the plan on because I can answer that. What was the plan to capture?
If the paragraphs, one of the threats was if they get hit with the ionic energy, that they would go inert and fall. And the plan was to catch them with the tractor beam, as I recall.
Oh, tactical can do that, but ops can also do that. So, yeah, you do have So, pretty much any of the bridge stations can act because science can also use the tractor beam, technically.
Okay.
It's not part of the bridge station, but yeah. And also, if you want, we can say that as Taeyeon is headed over there, stepping back into Taeyeon's place is Lieutenant Zarya, who just takes the bridge station. Bonnie's character resumes her post.
Okay. Listen, I just want whoever has the best stats for it. After seeing Taeyeon last time, I'm like, I want the sniper with the tractor beam.
Right. Yeah, it's fair. That's fair. Yeah, and also it's good to know who's on what team and where. It would be bad as a captain if you looked around and realized you were missing half of your bridge crew and didn't wait, what? All right. With that, she energizes. The curtain of energy passes over all of you. Your molecules are transferred to the station. A few moments later, as you were all beamed, the moment you begin to materialize on Babysitter Station, there is a slight disorientation that comes over you because you are beaming onto a 30-degree list. So as soon as the energy begins to wear off and you start feeling the effects of gravity on your molecules that are binding back together in the transporter beam, just as it cuts, you all kind of have to reorient yourself. Hata immediately pushes against the wall, reaches out and grabs Pavin. Pavin reaches out and grabs you. And the doctor reaches out and grabs your other hand as all of you kind of chain onto each other for a moment to get your bearings.
Okay, we're stable. Okay, much more of a deep angle than I expected. Okay.
The station itself looks on the interior quite lovely, actually. You are currently standing in what looks like a large corridor that has a spacious tall ceiling that stretches up maybe 8 to 10 meters above your head, and it bends down into this beautiful glass wall that looks out over the storm. The glass wall is currently glowing a slight blue, indicating that the force fields are currently in emergency mode to protect any possible structural issues. You also catch a glimpse of Peregrine fighters flying past the station just outside in a spinning probe. Quite the sight. The floors here are also this thin, comfortable carpet. And the place may be usually well lit, but right now is mostly lit by the flashes of lightning on the outside. Emergency lights are flickering. What's a little more frustrating too is if you are on the station, the list is actually listing where you guys would be to starboard. So as you have stepped out into this corridor, it's actually listing towards the window, which is a little nerve-wracking when you consider that it's like looking down. Like the station is going to give you vertigo if you have a fear of heights, like Eric Campbell. What would you all like to do as soon as you all beam down? Let me go ahead and tell you, Drac, that since you are a PC and surrounded by support cast, even though Hata has rank, you are technically the leader of the scene because you are main cast. So whatever you want to do, and it's kind of assumed that the away team is doing that, or you received the order to do that. So you have command here. Yeah.
Just so I'm sure I understand the initial plan. Essentially, can you run me through the plan is to...
So right now, they know that they're having extreme power fluctuations inside the station. and that it's probably going to require some kind of repair job. The first thing is to beam over here and discover what the status is of everyone who's been injured and learn what's going on with the kite, and then find out what repair needs to be done and then enact the repairs. Because all you guys know right now is there's injuries. There are 60 life forms on this part of the station. Their communications are pretty bad, and you don't know anything other than that.
And right now with me is Commander Hata.
Yep, you have the XO of the ship, Commander Hata. Then you have Lieutenant Commander Conway, who is your Chief Medical Officer.
Okay, cool. Okay, cool.
And then the engineer, Chief Engineer, Acting Chief Engineer of the USS Pride is Lieutenant Commander Pavin.
Okay. I think if we can, we're gonna have to split forces and divide and conquer. See if we can get Commander Hata. If you can find actually Commander Hata, and if you can go with Commander Conway, if you can go find who's injured and see if we can tend to them. And I think Pavin and I will see if we can see whoever is not too injured and figure out what exactly is going on the ship.
So then the way that would play out then is you basically above table tell me what the others are doing, and then it's in narrative. Hata gives the orders basically, and calls for the away team to split up. Okay. So who are you going with again? Sorry.
I'm going to be going with trying to make sure I remember everyone's names. Commander Pavin.
Pavin, the engineer. Okay, cool.
The engineer. And Hata and Conway are going to go find any injured and tend to them.
So with that, then Hata, the first thing she does as soon as you all beam aboard is you see your XO pull out her flip open her tricorder and begin a scan, followed by Conway as well. A few moments later, Hata says, "It would seem that everyone has gathered into a single space. Quite wise. Doctor, why don't you accompany me to check the injured? The two of you go find out what the power situation is here on the station, and if there's any security situations we need to know about."
Will do, Commander.
Thank you.
Come on, Commander Pavin. Got a job to do.
Let's do it. Isn't that beautiful? As he leans closer to the wall as y'all are walking down this corridor and looking at this window that's tilted downwards. As you are moving, I'm going to need you to make a check for me.
Okay.
Because of course I am. You've had it too easy for too long, and now I demand. So you're going to be making a fitness security check with a difficulty of 2.
I roll 2 dice, right?
Yep. 2d20.
Okay, cool.
This is one of the rare incidences where I've called for a fitness check.
That's good because my fitness is real high. I need to roll under a 17.
Okay, let me check.
I don't like this feeling of rooting for
Good
you.
to know.
I don't like this at all. I'm gonna go get a snack.
No. Okay.
Our focuses for this, I guess, am I just trying to like stay upright?
Yes, this is essentially, it is difficult terrain. So if you want to burn momentum, you can just move through here. But actually, the difficulty of this might... That's right, because Star Trek Adventure 2nd Edition uses a new mechanic where if you want to move through difficult terrain, you just spend momentum to do it.
Okay, I'll do that.
And if you don't want to spend momentum, you can spend time instead and roll a check at a difficulty of 0 to gain the momentum you need to move through it. So it's up to you how you want to do that.
Everyone's cool with it. We seem to be on a time crunch, so just spend momentum. We'll call that. I'll spend a momentum.
Yeah. Is it a 1? Cool. Or is it per character? Is this a per character thing?
Oh, no. Yeah, no, I would never fine you for
yeah,
it's just 1 for the main character. And then it's just assumed the supporting character is just kind of following along, and I wouldn't do that to you. That would be terrible.
Just check it.
Terrible. To be fair, younger GM Eric might have been a jackass and done that to you, but not in this case. In this case, the momentum cost, because of the difficulty of the terrain, is only 1. So 1 momentum spend as you were all. I guess it's less of a terrain difficult. It's technically an obstacle, but it's also technically terrain. So you guys begin to move down the corridor. Pavin has his tricorder out and is leaning heavily against the wall as he's walking. And You hear him note, oh boy. I'm detecting damage, interior damage to the station. They've probably been struck by some of these plasma storms a couple of times. My guess, right off the bat, is they probably needed supplies even more than they realized, because it looks like some of their power compensators have been fried, which is not good. And I am definitely going to have to walk on the hull of this thing to repair it.
I do not envy you the stress you're going to be under. Is there anything that is going to be a long-term patch up, or just a thing that is going to buy us more time?
Well, it depends on what I find when I get to the place that needs the repair, because this thing uses some kind of power. It looks like an older power system, some kind of power regulator that actually distributes energies to its gravimetric pulse generators. Oh boy. I love working on old ships, but old stations, that's where I draw the line. Because then it's just maintenance. Ships go somewhere. Stations just sit there and... Anyway, I'm no Chief O'Brien, that's for sure.
More than good enough for this job. That's all we really need right now.
Oh yeah, no, I'm gonna own this. It's boring. Well, I guess falling to my death will make it exciting. And this is not something that you necessarily need to be privy to. Vulcan, I'm sure you don't care too much, but anyway. This way. And he points down one of the corridors. This is the main power junction point. I'll get a better idea of exactly how bad it's going to be, but we might need the Pride to beam us over one of these new power regulators. Could take a minute too to have one of those things. The industrial replicator should be able to give us one, but it might take a hot minute. And he taps on the communicator and just gives that all to you, Captain. Lets you know what's up.
I was literally about to do the exact same thing, so that's perfect.
I've got two lines coming at once. I'm going to need one of you to decide who's going to talk to me.
One of Paladin's got it.
All right. So from what I was able to gather from the relay race of messages, you need our industrial replicators to get fired up.
That's correct, Captain. It looks like one of the gravimetric power regulators here that actually helps keep the station floating above the clouds. It looks like one of them may have been destroyed, but I'll need to eyeball it because the ionic interference is wreaking havoc with sensor scans. I'll need to get in close.
All right, I'm going to patch this over to engineering. Engineering, can you have somebody fire up the replicator and get that processed quick, fast, and in a hurry?
You hear a member of the Ox crew say, "Aye, Captain, we're on it."
All right. Give me an ETA when you can.
Aye, sir.
All right, we've got everything in process, so just keep me updated, and I'll let you know as soon as we have the parts ready for you. Is everything all right? You've got boots on the ground. Is everything all right from your perspective? What do you see?
Haven looks back at you, Teon, and then faces forward and says, I see a station that's just listing 30 degrees. Looks like some equipment damage too. Lots of shattered picture frames. It's another reason why I tell them they should never bring physical picture frames. Should always be holograms. Hey, you know.
Some like to do an analog. All right. Well, if there's anything else you need from us, be quick to let us know. Until then, we'll be looming over, offering everyone as much support as we can.
Copy that.
All right. Cheering out.
Meanwhile, back in the flight seat of the Peregrine Falcon, Cadence, you've been counting. These lightning strikes are growing much more plentiful. It almost feels like they've noticed you as they start to sort of cluster around the station.
Good. Cool. Great. Fantastic.
The sensor information is being fed back to the Pride as we speak.
Good. After that drone is recalled to rule on everybody, hold those drones. We already had to fish one of them out of a field, and that one didn't even have ion storms. Anyone who loses that into that ice giant has to go get it themselves. So use the onboards where possible. And please, if you would be so kind, keep on the edge of that other atmosphere while I'm going in. You might need to relay race a little bit of sensor lock for the part where my systems get knocked out and I have to be reeled back up. Going down for the first dive. Taking a look for the kite.
Okay. You're going to go diving into the clouds?
Yes.
Okay. This is going to be I'm going to say this is going to be a daring con check
I would concur with that assessment.
as you dive into the clouds.
All right, I'm going to take a momentum for cool.
Okay.
And this is a flight check qua flight check. So
Yep.
my ship has the agile trait.
Nice.
So that will drop the difficulty by 1 down to, remind me?
That drops it down by 1, is that correct?
Yeah.
By 1, so then the difficulty would be 2.
Okay, lovely.
Yep.
Oh, good. All right.
How'd you do?
We'll get that momentum for cool back, and there we are.
Okay.
So we are at 3 momentum, and I've succeeded.
Okay. The moment you breach the perimeter of the clouds, there is a heavy jolt, and you hear your alarm system start going off. And then that computerized voice that sounds suspiciously like Bonnie, just saying, warning, exterior turbulence accelerating at an alarming rate.
Well, if you're alarmed, it's very bad.
The ship shakes again as you start flying through just heavy mist. You're also indicating you see the gravitational stress on the hull increasing, but it's nothing you're going to have to worry about. Even with the gravitational stress on the hull of this peregrine, peregrines are used to flying into worse than this. And there's been more than a few times during the Dominion War where you had to use some pretty clever tactics and get close to some pretty heavy duty gravity fields in order to get out of the way of any oncoming Jem'Hadar ships. That doesn't make it any less easy to fly, though. The rattling and shaking of the ship begins to slowly increase. And suddenly, you see a buildup of ionic energy outside about 1 kilometer away from your fighter. It looks like it's coalescing into a single point, and it's not an immediate danger, but you're starting to get this sense that maybe you kind of flew into the Viper's nest a little bit. Right now, the ionic energy, as it's being channeled through these clouds, begins to gather. The static electricity that's coming off the hull of the ship and through the shields right now would easily kill anybody who touched it. The ship shakes a little bit more, but the inertial dampeners kind of keep everything a little bit in place, but they are being pushed to their limits. It is impossible to see anything right now. You don't see any glowing lights of a station through the clouds, and sensors are fighting, trying to find the best they can. Thankfully, the probe gave you a bird's eye view of these clouds. So let me go ahead and have you make a check here.
I'm just flying down the kite ribbon.
Oh, the kite ribbon itself? Oh, you're following the energy
Well,
field?
right. Yeah, because that's very bright, and if I stay near enough to it, it will eventually lead me to the kite.
Okay. In that case, I'm going to spend threat.
Mhm.
And I'm going to spend some threat.
I'll allow it.
Good.
Provisionally.
I'm going to spend. Yes, I'm going to. This isn't a trait. I'm going to burn 2 points of threat to invoke an environmental complication. And I need you to make me a control. Is that going to be? Yes, I think that actually makes more sense. Make me, if you would, please, a control con check. And the difficulty of this is 3.
All right. I'm going to take that point of momentum back to roll cool again.
Okay.
And my agile into
Oh,
this,
yeah.
yes?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Definitely comes into play here.
Oh, excellent. That's menacing.
Oh, yes.
All right, well, oh, no, I can get a reroll because I used cool. Oh, good. Then we get it back. Once again, I succeed and we are still at 3 momentum.
Okay. You managed to pull up before slamming at high speeds into the station because as the cloud parts in front of you, camouflaged a little too well within the dark shadows of these clouds, the gray hull of the station, any lesser pilot may have not understood that the energy field that you were following down was actually ending right then. As soon as you reach this the ribbon kind of, it continues to emit underneath you as you're watching it. Glancing up, just as a pulse of lightning flashes in the clouds, you see the hull, metaled hull of this station right in front of you, and realize you are way beyond the red line of how close you should be flying at this speed. And a quick, sharp pull, you manage to get the Peregrine agilely to just dart aside in a very skilled and very familiar maneuver to you. However, the stress on the hull from the increased gravity, along with the stress that's being put against the inertial dampeners because of all the turbulence, it's pressed to almost the red line as you pull a high G maneuver and just bank around. The gravitational forces of this ice giant begin to bear down on the Peregrine, but you just move right past it and see all of the power is out on the station. It's completely dark. You don't see any lights on. It's how you almost ran into it. It's essentially just a giant metal block in the sky right now that's being held up. However, there is something unusual happening. You can't get an exact glimpse as to what it is, but just visually, though your sensors are not picking up anything out of the ordinary, as you've banked hard to the left, glancing down, looking at the station just to your left off the port, you notice there is this strange swirling, glowing energy at the base of the station. It almost looks like an ionic bolt of energy, like a lightning bolt, but it's coalesced into like a ball lightning, and it looks like it's formed at the base of this station. Station itself is almost conical shaped. So it goes down into a point where it has what looks like a sensor dome at the bottom from what you saw in the readouts. And then it's coned, it's like domed at the top. So it almost just looks like a 3-dimensional cone that's got a dome resting on the top. The kite looks a little bit something closer to like a spike, really. It's just lingering in the sky. That sensor dome at the bottom is lit up right now. And though you can't see any other part of the station through the clouds, that is visible somehow. You can see this glowing ball about maybe 200 meters just underneath the base of the station.
You ever deliberately put on socks and scrape your feet across the carpet and then touch your Vulcan sister?
Oh, yeah. I mean, twice a week usually.
That buildup of ionic energy came to mind. It came to mind for some reason. It just looks like it's ready to say, hey, Tavine, come here, I want to show you something. I'm going to give it a bit of a birth.
Okay.
So the station has no power.
Right.
Life forms? Do.
That's going to be a scan.
Yes, unfortunately you will.
Yep. And the ionic interference trait is in effect, so the difficulty will be 3.
All right. Then this is going to go nowhere, but because I'm flying, it's going to go nowhere fast.
Yeah, actually, you have now entered into the area of the substation auxiliary platform, so there are more traits down here that I have to make you aware of.
Oh, okay, lovely. That's fantastic.
You, on top of the traits that were above, you now have ionic pulse waves 3 and an ionic plasma storm of 3. This is in addition to ionic interference.
Okay.
Deadly winds 3 as well.
Really quick, the Pride is seeing everything that's happening, right?
No, the Pride lost visual on Cadence's peregrine minutes ago. Cadence literally just dipped down into the eye of the storm.
Okay, and that wouldn't come through any of our scans or anything either?
No, right now, where the Pride is currently located in orbit, the interference is just too great up here. You're not able to get. Remind me real quick. Oh, Drac, did I send you? I don't know that I sent you a copy of the Pride's character sheet. Did I?
I have it from my guests.
Okay,
appearance.
that's still relevant. Yeah, it's the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one you use to basically punch a hole through the center of a Klingon bird of prey. So let me just review the Pride's sheet real quick, because I don't think the Pride has high resolution sensors. No, it does not. Okay, yeah, because you're a battleship. You're not a science vessel. You're a reserve fleet. Okay. So yeah, you're not really capable of seeing through those clouds, is the answer to that question.
Gotcha.
You're muted, Sam.
I'm actually going to belay that,
Okay.
what I said earlier, because I do see that my sensors are subject to interference. But
Okay.
when it's the middle of the night and it's dark and you don't really want to throw on a light and just pelt your retina with photons, you might just give a bit of a feel around. Likewise, I can't see at all, but my ship has other senses that are not nearly so impaired. Namely, these transporters aren't subject to the ionic interference. So I would like to try to get a sense of life forms using tentative transporter lock as a way of finding people.
So
I wouldn't have been able to get any other kind of thing, but life forms specifically using transporter lock, I might be able to infer.
You the problem with that though is Cadence would probably, and this is just giving you a challenge that Cadence can work through, but that would require, transporter lock actually requires a sensor lock. It's basically using the ship sensors to be able to lock onto the life forms.
Right, but for the purpose of transporters, I ignore the trait.
Well, I'm sorry, for the purpose of transporters, you what now?
I ignore the trait that is negatively affecting the transporters.
You ignore the trait
that's the transporter relay race ability.
Oh.
So I don't ignore deadly winds. Those still apply. All the stuff that can murderate me.
Mm-hmm.
But and the sensors, for doing sensor things, still totally ionic interference. But the transporters.
Okay.
And so I'm trying to think with portals over here.
Okay. So you can ignore. Well, then that would essentially translate to you not having sensor interference. Because if you were to ignore the trait ionic interference and by using way of transporter, it means you found a way to basically cut through any sensor interferences. Those systems are they're the same basically in order to get.
But we'd call it just for the purposes, like the frequencies relevant to transporter lock. If I tried to figure out the atmospheric composition,
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so in which case you want to basically use that ability to do a quick snapshot of what's going on inside the station and what the situation is?
Yeah, since I can't use traditional sensor for life forms, I'm just like tentative lock, tentative lock, tentative lock, tentative lock with the transporter. It's just being like, hey, I might beam you. Oh, I mean, I'm not gonna, but now I know you're here. Kind of idea to count the life forms, get the location, that kind of thing.
Okay. Ooh, interesting. Okay. So, in which case, you detect in the interior of the station, the interior station has no power at all. It also means the life support is not currently online. So that is going to be another trait I'm adding to the scene, failing life support. You detect 14 life forms inside. You're not able to get a real good read on what kind of life forms, but you're pretty sure you're detecting a Bolian in there. However, the scans as they are returning to your vessel, as they ping back to the Peregrine, is 14 life forms inside the kite that you're not sure what their status is. They are alive. What's really drawing your attention is the life form reading that is coming from that sensor ball at the bottom of the station that's lit up like a glowing sphere is also reading back through your scan as a life form. You see the sensor scans as it is reading back to you. It starts to come up in the computer screen. The computer, using everything that the Federation has on file, is registering it as an unidentified possible ionic plasma-based life form. Not before recorded.
Yeah, I remember reading a report one time of a similar sort of being. That one was a bit of a power sucker, as I recall. But that one was a deep space, and this is clearly, do we call these terrestrial? If they're just kind of in the ionic storms of an ice giant, that one's one for the
That is
pilot.
Excellent question. I mean, as you're kind of, kicking around, like, what would the scientific designation of this thing be exactly? This lightning life?
That gets to be the sensor jock's problem.
Right, exactly. You don't, you just fly the ship.
Hey, I don't just fly the ship. I fly it well.
You fly it well, yes. You make this look good. If you would like to feed that back.
Yes. If I have solid comms, I'm going to.
You don't.
Expose it upward.
Okay.
If I have liquid comms.
Yeah. Okay. So while all of that is happening, back on board the station, you guys have reached what looks like an auxiliary power conduit, which is essentially just looks like a big cable junction point where you can see all of these cables and wires and large power outlets basically attached to the side of the walls. An engineering nightmare from the looks of it. As the station has listed 30 degrees, you can see equipment and all kinds of things that were supposed to be fastened down probably didn't have to be because of the stability of the station. Lots of debris all over the place. Detritus all over the floor, broken glass and data pads. As you step inside, you can see the powers flickering. The LCAR systems all over the readout displays are just kind of blinking on and off again. And Pavan just goes, oh, look at this. Look at this mess. Okay, let me see if I can get a read here. And opens up his tricorder and gives a quick scan. Taps on the console for a second, and you see the console go and the flickering stops. And he goes, okay, I can stabilize this station easily enough. Auxiliary power is available, but it looks like they're channeling almost all of it to the tractor beam to keep the kite from falling out of the sky. There's not a lot I can do with the station until we get that gravimetric power converter replaced. I think we've learned everything we can from this. We're going to have to walk. Oh, man.
Beautiful view outside, at least.
Yeah. Well, it's a 2-person job. So how are you feeling?
Look like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. So, yeah, let's do it.
All right. Right over here. Lockers are just this way. And steps through what looks like a lipped threshold into what seems to be sort of like a locker room. You see, indeed, it looks like there are specialized EV suits that are lining the walls, each of them fastened into it. They look a little different than the standard Starfleet EV suit. They look like they have like plates on them, but they are covered in this thick mesh. And he's like, oh, they're non-conductive. Well, that's very nice of them to do that for us. Thought ahead. And he says, all right, let's get suited up. I'm going to let the captain know what's going on over here. Engineering team, where the hell is my power converter? It's coming up Commander, we just got the blueprints from the Federation database and are currently replicating it right now. Should be just a few more minutes. Fine. Taps the communicator and then hails the bridge. Away team to Pride.
This is Pride.
Well, I'm here with our chief of security, and it looks like... Oh, I hate to say this, Captain, but I think Teon and I are going to have to do a walk on the exterior of the hull. Power unit that needs replacing is only accessible through the exterior, so we're going to have to get on our grav boots and walk it.
And we're certain there's no other way, and I just want to check in with Commander Teon. Is that something that you are well-versed in doing?
Tim will respond. Can't say I've had too much experience, but it's something I can do. Don't worry.
That sounded full of confidence. All right, give me just a moment. I'll check personnel, see if there might be someone that might be a little bit more well-suited to this to assist.
Captain, I assure you I can do this.
Are you certain?
I'm certain.
All right, check in often and frequent.
Hi, Captain.
Captain.
From the helm, Tavine will turn a little over her shoulder and say, Captain, if I may.
Speak freely.
Commander Teon is quite good at what he does and takes to new things surprisingly quickly. I would trust him with this.
I do trust him with it. In fact, it's exactly Commander Teon's value that has me reluctant to put him in situations like this. If we end up getting into a situation in which one of those birds needs to be caught, well, I've seen the skill with our photon torpedoes. I think that could translate well, but understood. Thank you for your insight, Commander. Speaking of insight, you see any way we can give them a hand?
I'm still thinking on it, Captain. We are quite large, and this seems to be more of a delicate retrieval situation, but I'll let you know if anything comes to mind.
No, I was thinking about that. We are rather large, and one of the problems that we are encountering is wind.
A windbreak, Captain.
I mean, we've got a lot of size. Why not use it?
I could see that being feasible. Could we have science run some projections on making sure we don't make it worse by creating a wind tunnel?
They
I thought you might.
Are you? But I'm not sure if it's the exact thing that you're thinking of. What are we talking about doing when you say windbreak?
Offering some of our personnel a little relief from the wind. It's the same thing as when on a drafty day you find a brick house and you lay your back on it.
Oh,
we would be the house.
Tavine kind of sits there for a moment, and you see processing taking place. Or, I'm sorry, Avrali, rather. Avrali is just sitting there kind of thinking about this for a moment, and then finally says, were houses made out of brick? It doesn't seem very efficient.
Well, my mom used to tell me a story from Terra about the qualities of the building material of brick. A lot better than straw, but right now that's not important. We just need to make sure they don't blow our house down.
You want to take the USS Pride into the atmosphere to see if we can use it as sort of a windbreaker?
Can it be done? I mean, that would require fine-tuned analytics and a really good pilot. I wouldn't happen to have both on my bridge right now, would I?
With a smirk, Raleigh just says, well, honestly, it's mostly going to be all up to the helm at that point. As soon as you take us down there, it'll be a little bumpy, but the Pride won't feel anything so long as it stays at the station level. The problem is really going to be the lightning storms. But the shields for the Pride should be able to withstand that somewhat for a little bit. the nature
We've
of the
put
ionic
modulation
energy.
in place, which will hopefully help us a little bit.
It'll buy us a little bit of time, but unfortunately, the shields can't be regenerated as long as they're taking ionic damage. That's going to be the problem. So while it'll be slower to wear them down, once they're down, they're not coming back up until we leave the atmosphere.
Well, what do you say, Commander Tavine? You feeling like riding the lightning?
We could definitely make an attempt. I would still love an assist from science to figure out the optimal distance for the speed of the winds to actually give the most protection to our people on the outside of the ship station.
Volley glances back at the science station and taps a couple of buttons and says, maybe 100 meters, 200 meters.
Noted.
If we get close enough, would it be possible to extend our shields to offer even further relief to the personnel on the station?
Volley says, unfortunately, it wouldn't really work like that, Captain. We'd have to extend our shields around the station itself, which we could possibly do, but that would definitely eat into reserve power. It would also weaken the shields, but it would be a more efficient way. There's a risk-reward situation with it. Weaker shields, and we would end up having to draw upon reserve power, but I think that should be the only complications.
You know what? I think we could do better. You know, my mom used to get me really old toys from her hometown in San Francisco. And we had this really interesting wind-up toy that she showed me the power of voltage. It's not great for the toy to increase the voltage, but it does make it run a little bit more enthusiastically for a time. I would like to spend 2 momentum to create the trait overcharge, where we overcharge the pride to increase our shield to contain the station and withhold their current strength so that they don't weaken.
Okay. So you're using 2 momentum to create a system trait to basically, you want to be able to do the shield extension, but you don't want to be punished by losing shield points for doing it. Is basically what you, okay.
Yep.
Okay. Yes. Yep.
Okey-dokey.
You can do that. So the engineering team gets to work on that right away. And Raleigh starts sending down some specifications that they feel are going to be optimal for doing this shield extension job. But essentially, what's going to happen is you are going to spend your reserve power, and you are going to be able to, but you will be able to extend your shields around the station as you are requesting this, and you won't lose any shield strength.
I would.
Yeah.
Then let's see.
It's that way.
Once per scene, when we take the reroute power action, we can spend 2 momentum to immediately regain the use of our reserve power.
So is that a engineering ability? Or
That is an ability of the pride.
Okay.
That was one of the ones we picked.
Oh, this is a ship talent.
My baby thick and she knows how to work it. Let's go.
Oh, so this is the pride using her
It
power
is.
systems. Okay, so this specifically, you guys are using secondary reactors. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
The ship has additional impulse and fusion reactors, which allow the ship to generate far greater quantities of energy. Once per scene, when you take the reroute power action, you may spend 2. Okay, hold up 1 second, because we may have just run into a semantic issue. Because reroute power is different than reserve power. However, I would argue that reroute power is probably a more accurate way of describing it. It says you reroute reserve power to a specific system, in this case, shields.
Mm-hmm.
The system gains power, which apply to the
in that case, could we just reroute power to shields and I don't need to spend the momentum? Because that's what it sounded like.
No.
You have to spend. Yeah.
So what I would say is you've actually clarified this a little bit, because this is an operations engineering reroute power action, essentially to do the extend shields. So you're using the secondary reactors of the pride to be like, LOL, nope, I don't lose that reserve power, because you have to spend reserve power to do that. You're saying no, because we have secondary reactors, we don't have to expend it. So in other words, because of the Pride secondary reactors and you creating a trait, you can do this without any of the limitations that I placed on you for the scene.
There we go.
So there you have it. That's good use of spending trait momentum and using the ingenuity of the USS Pride engineering team to compensate for the fact this old bird, she's old, but she's got a lot to give. Power grid of the Pride starts pushing past its maximum as you see the exterior, as the ship goes to yellow alert, you see as the shields raise an additional layer of shielding. The green outline of the shields around the ship on the tactical display suddenly turns like a vibrant teal, and you see an additional layer begin to form outside that shield. And with that, you can now take the Pride down into the upper atmosphere if you so choose.
For my brain, how large are we compared to the station?
You guys are scale 5, I believe. And so the station is scale 6. It's literally it's one scale higher than you guys. So
I think that's where, I mean, I might be wrong, but according to this kind of sheet, we're also scale 6.
let me double check that. That might be wrong because
We've had a couple
no,
of
you're scale
versions of the
5.
character sheet.
Yeah.
Okay,
Pride is, yeah. Excelsior is a scale 5 ship. Scale 4 would be a Constitution class. Scale 5 is Excelsior's class. Scale 6 is like the Ross and a Galaxy class and a Sovereign class. And then scale 7 is a Romulan Warbird. And it just keeps going up.
Drac, in the Discord, there's a channel called Cheat Sheets, which has one in there. I don't know if that's the most recent one, but there is a ship sheet in there.
Yeah. Before I have
and also one in post. Oh no, the more recent one is in cheat sheets.
Before I have you roll, Caitlin, we're gonna go ahead and go on break.
Oh yes.
So basically now, just as we're leaving, we're watching the USS Pride, this Excelsior, begin to turn down and start pointing itself. Instead of flying in a high orbit, you begin to use thruster control and angle. On the view screen, you see that side view of the planet that's just off port. You begin to see it start to fill up the entirety of the view screen. Tactical display begins to come up in front of you on the helm readout as you start getting sensor feeds back from both the Peregrine Falcons as well as the science station. And just as you begin to enter into the upper atmosphere and the shields begin to turn a glowing red color, that is where we are going to pause for a 10-minute break. We'll be back in 10 minutes, y'all. Don't go anywhere.
Butts.
All right. Welcome back, everybody, to Last Excelsior. I almost said butts.
I saw it.
I know. I heard it. I heard it almost.
Really, like, thanks to Noir. Like, I literally almost.
The echolocalia is strong in this house.
Pretty mighty. Okay, we're going to pick up where we left off. The USS Pride is starting to descend into the upper atmosphere of this ice giant planet that is renowned for its impossibly powerful storms. As you begin to enter that upper atmosphere, I'm going to have you make your helms check here. Yeah, which you saw this coming because as the Pride is dipping into that stratosphere, or not stratosphere, but into the exosphere, you are going to need to make a control con check. Whoever wants to roll for the Pride, this is going to be this is actually going to be a structure engineering roll for the Pride.
Can I aid?
How would you aid for this?
With the captain's chair, it has access to all the readings and scans, and so I would essentially just, a little to the left, a little to the right, like useful backseat driving and picking up any anomalies.
Backseat driving.
That would work against the helm officer.
Yeah, using the word backseating, I think immediately.
I know, but
backseat.
On this one, I think it's going to be helm and ship only. So go ahead and make that check. The difficulty is going to be planetary entry. Yeah, you're not in the storms, so I would say difficulty is just 2 for this.
I'd love to roll for the ship.
And roll for the Pride.
Yeah.
All right, so roll a single D20.
I would like to spend our momentum to buy a die. So I can
All right.
juice it a little bit.
Buy a die.
Go to 0. And then
My first roll for the Pride was on 1.
The pride
that's a
crit.
crit.
Oh, ah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I just have to succeed, and then we get
You
that
just have
crit.
to succeed.
Amazing. Okay. Focuses, helm, operations, Excelsior expert.
Read through this again.
Sorry. Focuses, helm, operations, Excelsior expert.
Both of those.
Okay.
Yeah. So your specialties will kick in here.
And then, okay, and I bought a die, so I have cautious, so I can reroll if I need to.
Did you roll? Did you give me some complications? Please tell me you rolled me some complications.
Sure did not.
No, not.
Okay. Okay, so I rolled an 11, which is under my number, a 4, which is under my focus, and a 1, which is a crit.
So you
So-
rolled 2 crits. So there are
And plus
3
one.
crits total. Plus so 2,
Seven.
4, 6 plus an additional success. So 7 total successes for this roll.
Yeah.
Okay, well that'll max y'all out on
And-
momentum.
And anytime I do anything with my Excelsior expert focus, I gain us a momentum too. So we are maxed out no matter what.
Okay, so
Wait,
y'all
so
are
that
at,
puts us at 8, yes?
that puts you at 8.
Then we should use 2 of the 2 bonus momentum to peel away a layer of some trait.
Yes, we absolutely should.
I mean, we've got to get all the we max out at what 6, right?
6.
Yeah,
How
and
many-
everything after 6
Exactly, so
becomes
the 2 are
spillover that you have
free.
to spend immediately.
So
No
we got
reason
2. So
not
let's
to.
spend those. What
Mhm.
could, okay, so because we're getting in closer, what advantage could that, do we want to take off part of the wind?
I think
Well,
wind makes sense.
the one thing that we want to get rid of the most right now is everything that's interfering between the peregrines and the prides talking. So which trait is doing that to us, Eric?
Ionic.
Okay, one sec, because I'm just checking a rule here. But the trait you're referring to is there's well, up here in the atmosphere where you guys are at. It is ionic interference 3, deadly winds 3, and station instability.
So maybe us getting closer can cut through some of the ionic interference as like a story explanation.
Yeah, I'm game for it.
So as a storyteller, I would say you can absolutely do that. But narratively speaking, cutting through the ionic interference using the USS Pride is basically using the USS Pride as a lightning rod kind of situation.
Which
Which-
is why we overcharged the shield.
Right.
That's part of the reason we overcharged the shield, so it still plays narratively.
Oh, totally. Yeah. But you had initially had told me you wanted to work as something of a like a windbreaker. That changed a little bit when you decided to enhance the shields to make this kind of like a catch-all bubble. But I just wanted to staying in like tandem with what you guys are trying to do. I just want to make sure that you aren't surprised by the activity of the lightning as it develops around you guys. But you should be fine.
Gotcha. Oh yeah.
Okay.
It makes sense to peel the wind if we want to peel the wind and treat that separately, because in fiction that was kind of the thing.
That was the goal, yeah.
That's reasonable. We'll have to get the interference, but
And we're full of momentum too, so we can always come back to the interference. I would say actually we did say we were doing this for wind shear, so it does kind of make sense.
Well, what I'm getting ready to say is like we're maxed out on momentum, so there's nothing stopping us from spending 4 to cut ionic and wind. We're overdue for another rally pretty soon anyway, so I can re-up us. And I've got 2 determination that I'm just ready to shoot. So
let's
we
peel
can-
away a layer.
let's
of
just
each
peel-
Then
let's peel away 2 traits.
you're in closer range, so now we're down to ionic interference 2 and deadly winds 2.
All right, and that leaves us at 4 momentum.
1 second here as I.
I mean,
Okay.
if that leaves us at 4, if we want to go, we can save it. I was
We're
gonna
about
say
to
we
have
can go.
some people in trouble. We might want
Yeah.
to leave a little bit there are people outside and there are all around ball lightning.
I was just gonna say,
let Taeyeon have a little bit of a.
I was also gonna say we still haven't touched ox points too, so it's just like
Nobody's
That's
touched
also
Ox
true.
points yet.
So if we empty the clip now, it gives us more incentive to use ox points, and we drop 2 traits to potency 1.
Oh, plus Taeyeon has self-reliant and probably won't be
It's
drawing
true.
from the pool anyway. So let's
Yeah, I won't be
peel
putting
an
from the pool,
extra
but-
level off
Let's
one of
empty
those
the clip.
traits.
Fuck up.
Oh, are we empty? No, we are not emptying
We don't
the
need
clip.
to
We're
empty
leaving
it. I
2.
think 2.
I require us to leave 2.
Fine. So that
Let's
brings
take I think I say just for story consistency, I think we take deadly winds down to 1,
Down
just
to 1.
because that's
I
what
agree.
we were saying we were doing, and instead of like wiggling around in the interference, that wasn't the
Mhm.
goal of this maneuver. So I would vote that that's what we take down,
My
even
inner
though
power
My
gamer
sister's
is
the worst,
dying
but she's
inside,
also
but I will
correct.
agree with you.
even it would be better for all of us if we. I think that wind just it makes more sense. So we want to
Yeah,
take
no,
deadly
I
winds
agree.
down to 1 and leave us down with 2 momentum.
Yes. Cool.
I'm just double checking here.
When the pride shows up, shit happens. I love my big thick baby.
Okay, one
Taking us
sec.
out,
Is
say
that
that.
It's our
gonna
grandpa, and we love her.
create a trait?
Just cannonballed into the atmosphere and shit came. Oh!
Displacement physics of just us showing up changes things.
Oh, interesting. Oh, interesting. Must relate to the task just passed. Okay, so 2 things to note. First of all, when you are creating or manipulating traits, it has to relate to the task you just passed, which this does.
Mhm.
However, creating traits is not repeatable. So what that means?
We're not creating traits though.
Yeah, but the create trait action is what it's called when you are removing or increasing potency of traits.
Got it.
So if you're increasing or decreasing or creating a new one or removing one, it's just the create a trait action. So notable though, it's not a repeatable action. That only means that you can do it
Separately, not as part of.
It says you can spend 2 momentum to establish a new trait in the scene. See establishing a scene or to change or increase currently in place. So you guys can so what I'm getting from this is that once per scene you can decrease a trait or remove a trait if it's at 1, but since it's not repeatable, the way I'm reading it is because of the established. Hold on one second. I'm going to double check and make sure I've got this right. Because it's not repeatable, it means you can't just keep burning momentum to burn down a trait in the scene.
So Modifius had a Q&A like I think a week ago.
Yeah.
So essentially what it means by saying not repeatable is that you, like, for example, what we're doing you can't do technically, but if we wanted to, we could say we're dropping ionic winds down. That's the create action attached to this space, then do it again. So we can't do it twice within the same action.
Right. So would you
so
agree?
It's not scene locked. It's action locked.
Yeah. So would you? So my spin on that. Okay. So then yes, you could do for this action. You could reduce a trait by 1.
Mm-hmm. And then,
like, I was just, and if you're going to do it again, you'd have to commit to another action and then spend the momentum to do it again.
It gets limited in combat. I see where that comes from.
Yeah.
So out of combat, we can just say we're going to take another action to do.
Cool. Okay, that makes more sense, and that makes more sense because that would prevent you guys from being like, I'm going to spend 4 momentum and erase this bird of prey from existence. Because I don't
can just do that. Actually,
take 10 out of combat.
Right. Yeah. So. As the queue continuum begins to wet itself, as the USS Pride shows up with 8 momentum, I'm going to spend all 8 momentum and usurp the queue continuum. So, okay, in that case, I'm going to say, so you're going to lower ionic. Okay, I'm sorry, we're going to say Noir?
Oh, so I was just saying because it's locked by action. I was just trying to condense it all into one to say this is what we're doing overall. But like we could say, all right, for this check, we're dropping the wind down to ionic 1, 2. Sorry,
just
2.
3 to 2. Yeah.
Space. I'll rally, and as part of the rally action, that's when I'll also do the next one because that's another action, and then essentially we're all just doing an action as an excuse to drop the trait because that's essentially how it works.
Okay.
So we are at the end goal would put us at ionic interference 2, deadly winds 1.
1? What did it?
Yeah, we were going to drop it twice.
That would require 2 separate actions.
8 momentum. We were spending 6 of it.
Yes. So the end goal is this. We will take the actions necessary for us to get to that point. But the end goal is to drop ionic interference by 1 and deadly winds by 2. That's the end goal.
Okay, cool. So then what actions do you take, separate actions from one another, to drop deadly winds down to 1?
So I will take rally, and then I will take direct.
So question, you're taking rally to generate momentum in order to spend, right? But narratively, I need to know how rallying is going to somehow drop those winds down by 1.
So essentially, retroactively, my rally was the whole explaining the overdrive of the shield dropping down to be a windbreaker. So that was what the rally was. It was saying, hey, let's be a windbreaker. It's the idea that kicked off this whole thing.
Gotcha.
So that was rally 1.
Oh, that's cool. So basically you dropped the trait before you even entered the atmosphere, because you spent the rally on that, because you had that plan in place. Then the pride.
Then the pride goes down. That's removing trait number 2.
Okay.
And I mean, honestly, we could say rally action 1, direct, telling Tavine to go down, action 2, Tavine going down, action 3.
Well, hold on.
And I could spend the additional momentum to get an additional action. So I have 2 actions. Tavine has 1 action. That's 3. That's how we get it all done.
So my question about that, though, is 2 of those actions sounded exactly the same.
So, okay, rally. Let's go down.
So you're rallying.
Rally
was the idea.
Rally is, here's why we're going down. Here's why I think it's a good idea to go down. We'll be a windbreaker. We all talk about it. We agree. Cool. Directive. Go down. That's action number 2. Action number 3 is Tavine doing their thing and putting us in the best position for this to be effective. Action 3.
I guess we don't have to get into the weeds with this. I guess the reason narratively looking at this from like the episodic TV kind of point of view, coming up with the idea and then ordering the idea to be implemented sounds like the exact same thing to me. Because here's where I would push back a little bit. It's essentially the West Wing of, all right, we're talking about the plan. Is this a good idea? You put in your insight, I put in my insight, walk and talk, then we actually do the thing.
So mechanically, they are 2 separate actions.
Following the Aaron Sorkin school of screenwriting, thinking of the plan and then making the plan 2 different actions.
Okay, I'll go along with it this time because I see what you're saying. But yeah, I would say here it makes sense because we're basically coalescing everything that happened to make sure that we're spinning the trait burn downs appropriately as the rule stated. So, and then if we had done this again step by step, then we would have role played out you giving out the orders and everything else like that as you were heading the pride into the upper part of the atmosphere. So yeah, I'll go ahead and go along with it. So then that'll bring ionic atmosphere down to 2 and deadly wind, which makes sense because you're a scale 5 starship putting yourself between this crew that's about to walk outside. I think that's totally an Excelsior class starship used as a windbreaker wall, I think is a very viable reason to explain why the trait drops 2 points.
That's why I was like, I think spending it on the one that was like the most, just having that one be the one that goes down 2, even if we kind of fudge the actions, that one makes the most sense.
Okay, so
we are at 2 momentum left in our pool, just for housekeeping for everybody.
Okay, cool.
So I was trying to do it without the rally, but since now actions are attached to them, I now have to roll for the rally.
Yeah. And if you think about this from the TNG standpoint, it's absolutely this is absolutely, I could see like the crew meeting, making the decisions, putting in the orders, and then giving them out as that's happening. Like I can see it playing out this way. So
what are we sitting at in terms of momentum right now?
You have 2.
Cool. I'm gonna spend 1 of my determination.
Okay, you're burning determination.
I have 2 of them, so I'm spending 1.
Oh, right.
And I'm using it on my orb experience value, which is we are in the hands of the prophet. So as we're going down, we just see Jaren quietly to himself, saying a prayer to the prophets. The reason I'm doing that, I'm doing character sheet kung fu right now. The reason that I'm doing that is with my orb experience. When I spend a determination that is attached to the orb experience, which is my VR in the hands of the prophet, I get double the reward. So the reward that I'm picking is the forcing one of my rally die to be a nat 1. So that means I get 2 nat 1s on this plus what I roll. So that means that we're going to get 4 momentum plus whatever.
Okay. And
I read the book.
Which will retroactively end up getting burned because this is a time shenanigan rally.
Yeah.
So we won't have the action economy to take advantage of any bonus momentum beyond the 4 you've already created. So, I mean, we're kind of at any amount of rolls waste.
Yeah. So essentially, I just wanted to put us the max.
Oh no, absolutely.
Yeah. So we're
and I rolled
I
wrote the 9 and a 7, so that is 4, 5, 6.
But the 2 floating ones, because it's past tense, they just die. But we're maxed. We're maxed.
Okay. I was literally about to say you can use your orders as your determination trait at all times when you need to. But I see now why you did that.
Yes.
So then instead you're calling more on your faith and your spirituality to sort of like give you courage and focus as you were guided down into these clouds. While all of this is happening, the Pride on board the station, opening the exit hatch to the exterior is quite the experience. As you see Commander Tavine in the airlock press a couple of buttons, the airlock is over your heads right now at a slight angle because it's angled into the ceiling. And as he taps the buttons, it goes as this red light begins to spin and alert you that there is now an open hull in front of you. You see, as the door opens, you and the chief engineer look out into this gorgeous swirling maelstrom of deadly clouds. And upon sight of it, glancing up, Teon, you see the magnificent sight of the USS Pride emerging from this huge cloud cover, just slowly moving at using thruster power as she emerges from this storm cloud in front of you, dragging wisps of moisture and cloud off of the main dish as she pushes and pulls out. You can see like the light shining through the dark clouds as the clouds kind of trail off of the saucer section. This shadow passes over the station, and you are now looking up at the starry sky of glowing windows in the hull of the USS Pride, about 200 meters just above you guys. As that's happening, you see this field begin to generate around the Pride, and all of a sudden, the sky around you, the noise amplification that you get coming through your EV helmets, the decibel levels drop dramatically as the shields begin to envelop the entirety of the station. The wind speeds outside, which were without protection, the wind speeds are at about 600 kilometers an hour. With the protection, the wind speeds were at roughly 100 kilometers an hour. With mag boots, it was going to be a hellacious walk, a dangerous walk all the way to where you all need to go. With the shields going up, and as the Pride gets into position, those wind speeds drop down to about 50 kilometers an hour. It's nice and gusty outside, but Pavin looks down at you and smiles and doesn't say a word and says, he glances back up and just and says, make sure to turn on your mag boots as he pulls himself up. You see immediately gets buffeted by some of the wind and steadies himself as he starts pulling himself out into the upper atmosphere of this planet and takes a step out. You see the lights of his mag boots on his EV suit immediately activate. He steps out. And you guys hear through static commed interference from Pavin, this little bitty microscopic person you can kind of see on the view screen waving from the view screen. And you hear the static of Pavin speaking to the Pride go, lovely to see you. Looking good.
We thought we'd just take a dip down and give you a hand. Hope the wind eases up on you, friend.
Oh, my God, that's a beautiful ship.
Really our guardian angel as Teon climbs up to follow.
Teon, your Vulcan strength helps you compensate significantly easier than poor Pavin. The moment the wind buffets you, you flex and you're fine. Pulling yourself up, the mag boots activate, and you are now standing on the surface of a station that is listing 30 degrees, about 1,200 kilometers above the surface of an ice giant that is experiencing multiple Category 5 storms. Well, beyond Category 5, because the wind speeds are 600 kilometers an hour. So this is way past any kind of Earth standard. It's definitely one of those moments that anybody who graduated Starfleet Academy is hoping that they would experience. And as a Vulcan who does not necessarily subscribe to the old teachings, who has opened themselves up to feeling the onrush of Vulcan emotion, as soon as you find yourself standing on this hull, looking out over the atmosphere of this ancient world and its lightning storms with a pride just above your head and a stellar nursery just outside the atmosphere of the planet, you cannot help but find yourself with tears welling up into your eyes at the sight of everything around you. It takes you a moment to realize that Pavin, too, has actually kind of lost himself in it for a second as he's glancing around and going, okay, let's go.
Yeah, let's get moving.
And one by one, you are all carefully stepping. He goes, it's about 500 meters this way, just across the, oh, sorry, 500, 100 meters. What's with this? And he taps his 50 meters, sorry. Uh-oh, he taps it again. You see him working with the tricorder built into the EV suit. Presses it a couple of times and says, Pride, away team, we're getting a lot of interference down here. Is that coming from... I'm spending 2 threat. The alarm on the bridge chirps suddenly. And you hear the sort of alert sound that comes blasting through the science console. And as soon as it happens, swiveling very quickly, Ivrali, who is always peppy, always enthusiastic, and always arguing with their console, that is gone. As they swivel, look directly at you and go, Captain, we're having a massive buildup of ionic energy on the outside of the ship.
Okay.
We launch a probe immediately, sir.
Make it so.
Okay. The Pride is going to launch a probe.
Could I get a question on our trait we established last week, which was shield modulation? Does this give us any, like, is that something that makes this possible, like us doing this maneuver, or is there like something we should keep in mind?
Shield modulation basically gives you resistance against being struck by ionic energy.
Okay, cool.
So
I just want to know what to keep in mind.
Yeah. So it's almost, think of it like armor. It's kind of giving you a point of armor against the ionic energy. Kind of it's like damage reduction. Think of it like that.
Sick. Okay, cool.
However, despite the fact that you do have those shields up, it's not entirely clear whether or not ionic energy can pass through those shields. Like it would certainly be dissipated if it was trying to strike the stations, but it's not entirely known what happens to anybody walking outside. Mm-hmm. It's conceivable that they'll be just fine, but at the same time, why take chances? The probe gets launched. Simple action. As soon as it fires off, you see Pavin glance over his shoulder, kind of alarmed at the sight of the probe being launched, and you both know what it means when that probe is launched because you know what they were built for. And Pavin goes, okay, we better speed this up a little bit.
If I can.
Yeah.
No, I think that might be difficult, but can I help? Because I've got, like as you said, Vulcan strength on my side here. Could I help move us faster? Can I like almost not drag, but help Pavin move a bit faster?
Support, brace him.
Yeah, brace him.
I mean, you could certainly I tell you what, I'll let you assist his fitness check that I'm going to have him make here in a sec.
Yeah, I'd love to do that.
You can adjust. I'll let you assist that. And that would be kind of like you putting your hand against his back and making sure he doesn't fall backwards from the buffeting winds that are blowing from the opposite direction. Because y'all are in a storm right now, you are serving as a wind wall, but wind is coming from every direction. Mm-hmm. So you can help stabilize him. I'm going to go ahead and make a roll for him real quick. The difficulty of this is only 2.
As an assist, I just roll 1 dice, right?
For the assist, yeah, that's correct. And he has to...
Do focuses come into play when I'm assisting?
If you have focuses that could apply.
I have a focus called athletics, so I don't know.
No,
what?
I wouldn't say. Well, I don't know. I'm inclined to say that would help you, but it wouldn't help him.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's roll.
Yeah.
Roll
Go ahead and make your roll. Difficulty is 2.
I rolled a 2, but
did
since
2.
it doesn't, since it's not a focus, it's just 1 success.
Hold on, let me check his focuses real quick. I'm pretty sure Pavin is not exactly Mr. Athletics, but he's also a support character. So let me see if he's okay.
Yeah, and if he fails, if he fails, he can't get aid, which sucks.
Succeeded a task. Oh, okay. I was gonna see if maybe he could. Yeah. So if I was playing him as a player, I would pitch the GM damage control, dangerous areys. Would that work? No, he's not gonna get his focuses, but it doesn't matter because he did get 1 success. Oh, actually, hold on 1 sec. What was his? So fitness. Oh yeah, he is not. Okay, so he needs a 10 or less. He is not Mr. Fitness security guy. 1 sec. What did he get? He got. What did he get? Oh, yeah. Speed up here. Okay. Oh, yep. He succeeds. Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Your assist is going to give you guys a bonus momentum.
Oh, hell
Yep.
yeah.
It floats. So if you have an idea for it, take it.
Do I have an idea for it?
Not a lot you can do with 1 momentum in terms of traits, but you could, what you could spend it on though. You could burn that to get through difficult terrain.
Oh yeah, I'll burn that to get through
that.
difficult terrain. Yeah,
you guys can push through difficult terrain. So you guys are moving at a really good stable clip. Moving at about normally half your movement speed, but you are moving along and you don't have to make any more rolls as you're booking it across the hull. So while all of this is happening aboard the station, down in a Peregrine fighter below the cloud cover, in the most dangerous part of this entire mission, that is about at this point is when the sensor feedback comes as y'all are stabilizing. After that probe fired, by the way, Captain, you do see as it leaves the area of the shield, it enters a cloud cover and it looks like there is just a spectacular explosion of lightning in the center. It looks like one of those lightning balls just erupts with energy as all of this ionic energy is attracted to the probe immediately and contact is instantly lost as the probe is vaporized from the lightning and the storm.
Okay, that's
there's
cool.
a smile that comes across Avrali's face and then a furrowed brow as Avrali goes, wait, what? And looks at the science station and goes, oh my gosh.
That's the sound of you being astonished by our plan working so thoroughly without any problems, correct?
That's in permission to transfer my display of science station onto the main view screen.
Let's see.
And they look like a kid at Hanukkah. Not goes over, taps.
I'm familiar with that.
You see coming up on the view screen, sensor feedback coming in from Cadence, who has just kind of casually and very quietly communicated sensor readings back to the Pride. It's lots of static and the visual is hard to see, but you're seeing what Cadence's sensors are reading. And standing next to the captain's chair, Avrali takes a single step forward and is just awestruck. He says, seek out new life. And you see this bio readout of what looks like some kind of energy pattern that the computer is registering back as a life form. This electrical charge at the bottom of the station.
Raleigh, if I could have you send these readings to medical immediately, we want to make sure that we're being hospitable guests to our new friend.
Sure, yeah. Cover all bases. Ian's transmitting it down to the medical stations down below.
We're in their house. We got to figure out how they like us to be here.
I wonder if it could be that they're intelligent. They might be attracted to the station. They might be feeding on the station. They might be attacking the station for all we know, but they could be doing something else. We have no idea. I wonder if there's a way to communicate with them. I wonder if there's a pattern. I wonder if the lightning in the clouds has something to do with this. It could mean anything.
All good questions, but if they're feeding on the ship, that tells me they're hungry. So that means we need to get them a plate. If they're attacking it, that means that we're threatening them. That means we need to figure out how to stand down. And if we're just annoying them, then we need to figure out how to apologize and get out of their way.
I'm not first officer, but if I was, sir, I would say I agree with all of those things.
Well, you don't need to be a first officer for that, but I appreciate the consideration. Let's get to it.
Raleigh immediately swivels back, and for the first time, you hear them whispering excitedly to the station, almost like the science station itself is also very excited about this. I told you we'd find something one day. We weren't thinking to look. And continues typing on. Back down into the Peregrine fighter, though, you see that the Pride has received the data packet. And you hear a few moments later coming through the comms, Ivrali's pretty musical falsetto toned voice just going, "Oh my God!" Depending on which one, if you do believe in any, Andorians have. This is amazing. I just fed the information back to the captain, Commander, and we're seeing what you're seeing right now on the main view screen. We passed the information down to medical to find out if it's to find out if anything.
Okay. Sounds good. Keep me posted with whatever you figure out. Meanwhile, since we have comms reestablished, I'm going to see if maybe we can at least talk to anyone in this station. I'm sure you're seeing with that fancy instrumentation that it's out of power. I'm going to attempt direct communication to tech suit, see if we can get any kind of sense of what's going on. Otherwise, well, I mean, while I've got you on the line, please just tell transporters that I'm going to try to pull them as soon as I can.
Aye, Commander. I am adding the trait Mysterious Life Form 2.
Wait, there's two of them? It has a friend? Eric, legally, you're obligated to answer.
Do you see how easy it is? Do you all see how easy it is to play of Raleigh? Like, it's not even really that tricky for me. It's really not. I'm playing 7.5 years of knowledge of Sam DeLeff right now. All right, so you're trying to establish comms to anybody in the interior of the station?
I think I would probably, at minimum, have tech pretty nice and locked in. Yeah, because the ship systems down, life support down. Therefore, tech suit, tech badge, tech hello.
Okay.
This is the idea. Just direct communication to an individual person I might be able to get contact with. Okay,
so this is going to be a roll that you're going to try to do here.
Oh, good, great, lovely, fantastic.
And this will be using, this is going to be using the, oh my God, when was the last time we did this? So, it's going to be, you know what though? This is actually going to work out quite well for you because it's a con check.
Yeah, that at least.
So at least you've got that working on you. And you do
that
get
going for me, which is nice.
Yeah. And you are, so for you, this is going to be,
this feels like control to me.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, control con. And then the Peregrine is probably going to be, I think the Peregrine is going to be using the comm systems with, I'm thinking, engineering.
Com-con. Okay, not ComCon?
Well, I don't know, because you are fighting through interference. But maybe...
I mean, it's a difference of one on a roll. It in all probability will not succeed.
Yeah.
It's just that one sounds like Comic-Con, and that's funny to me.
Yeah, it is funny. No, I don't deny that. Give me 1 second, because this is actually one of those. This is one of those areas where Starfleet Adventures is actually Starfleet Adventures. I'm thinking of the Lower Decks campaign. Star Trek Adventures 2nd Edition has actually done a very good job clarifying this kind of stuff with some of its skill sets. So I want to refer to it directly real quick and see if they can offer any guidance to the updated descriptions of what these skill sets are used for. So in this case,
They've got them in roll too. If you have that opened up.
I'm on Foundry. I'm on the Forge right now.
Gotcha.
Oh, here we are. Okay, so that's control, daring, con, insight. Okay, cool. In this case, let's see. Con covers piloting, crafting of all sizes, from ground vehicles to shuttles and grand starships. Includes and understanding of starship operations. So let's see. This is going to be. Yeah. Okay. That is not correct. This is, skills. One sec here. Oh, here we go. Okay. So, communications. Sure. So then you would want to use the recognition of the origin of the signal. Yeah. So it's okay. Oh, okay. Yay. Yeah, it's communications engineering. To alter communication systems or to break through interference or function in non-standard frequency, that is going to be communications and engineering. So yeah.
Okay,
and that is on page 183, the systems and department interactions. Those are pretty cool. Super handy. Super handy. So
since I'm able to communicate, will I be able to assist?
I would say no, because you actually are not aware that Cadence is doing this at the particular moment.
We don't see what their ship.
You have no line of sight on Cadence right now. Cadence is currently down where the kite is and is completely buried underneath half a mile of clouds. Yeah.
I declared that I was doing it, but what's the difficulty, Eric?
The difficulty of this is because ionic interference down. That is true. You did tell the science officer, but that would have been relayed to the captain. What would you use to assist here?
Essentially, since we are back in communications, and I can when we first described the fighters going, we could literally see what their peregrine sees. So essentially, I was just going to use our sensors plus that to call out any hazards that might go unnoticed. Essentially, I'm functioning as a backup camera, just our sensors were most likely going to be slightly better than what's on the peregrine.
I mean, I see that being helpful, but I don't see that being helpful to establish comms. Like, how would you break through communication wise? Because I definitely see that being used if Cadence was having to, at station keeping at this level of danger, if I throw something at Cadence, I could see that definitely giving Cadence a bonus. What's up?
May I pitch something towards assist?
Please do.
The Pride, not this specific Griffin, but the Pride was in comms with tech before, and so has the very precise frequencies that tech was using. That could help me. If they passed along those bands.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you could use tech's comm badge frequency.
But also, what's the difficulty? I think we ended up.
The difficulty here is because you are in another part of, because the traits down here are the same. So it's deadly. It's going to be ionic interference 3. So the difficulty here is going to be, it's going to be exactly 3.
Okay.
So you can take that assist using the Pride. Basically transmits text comm badge to you.
Perfect.
Frequency of the comm badge.
Then please do give a roll. Meanwhile, Taeon, if you'd be willing to roll for the Paragriffin and roll 5 or under, it would be hilarious if you managed it, but there's no pressure.
That is one
Let's see.
success from me, and because I assisted, my advisor talent comes into play, which allows you to re-roll one d20 should you need.
Fortunately, I did not
Including
roll
the
under
ship die,
5.
correct?
I'm sorry?
Is the ship die part of the advisor talent? No.
Yeah.
Whenever you assist another character using your command, the assisted character may re-roll 1d20. So I assisted you, so I'm assuming that.
So I think
no.
that's probably no. I didn't need it. My ship, again, we
No,
have
I rolled
no
a 13,
expectations
unfortunately.
of her. So we have I restore the point I took for cool, and we clear that difficulty.
I didn't catch the end part of your sentence.
We win.
Oh, you succeed?
Yes, I rolled 4 on a 3, so the one that I spent for cool returns to the pool.
Okay. So you call out to Tech a few times, getting static. Using the emergency channel and dialed in specifically to his combat frequency, which is only done, you've done plenty of times, again, during times of war when you don't want the enemy hearing a wideband broadcast to your team. Honing in on Tech, you broadcast a couple of times, leaning in cadence, hearing your own voice saying, Chief Tech, this is Griffin 1, do you read? Over. Again and again. And after a few moments, you hear cutting through the static, hello, Griffin 1?
Oh, hey there. Just getting
Oh,
through
jeez.
the,
Well, it's really nice to hear your voice, let me tell you.
how's it going down there? It looks a little ball lightning from here.
Oh, well, it's a bit of a mystery right now. See, I've been doing what I can to figure out exactly how to get power back online, but unfortunately, it looks like all the manifolds out here are completely busted. But that's not the most alarming part. The most alarming part is my tricorder scans have indicated, based off of what I'm reading here, that the tractor beam has actually failed and should not be holding up the station. So the past, I say hour or so, I've been trying to figure out why it is we're not falling to our death.
There's an absolutely delightful reason as Caden is just staring at the ball lightning.
The ball lightning looks quite active and is just, you see electricity playing off of it. If you were to look for patterns, it looks like it's a scattering underneath it, like it's constantly lancing out this energy pattern underneath it.
So then I will take it that there's no objection to getting you and the other 12 beings, by my count, who are in the station and not Atlas under there, out as soon as possible. That sound all right?
That sure would be helpful, yes. Although I feel really bad because I feel like the station is probably lost at this point, at least this part of it. The good news is I've managed to put my time to some good use, and I've downloaded all the relevant data onto some portable data banks that we can take with us. So while the equipment will be lost, at least all the data that has been recovered won't be.
All right, we will get the data, and most importantly, all of you.
You did bring the pride with you, yes?
I knew there was something I forgot.
Oh no! Tech sounds genuinely distressed at that. How are you going to fit us all into your fighter thing? We don't fit into the fighter things very well. Those things are just good for flying around and shooting Jim Hadar.
Well, these are good for a little more than that. I'd like to switch channel.
Okay.
To Griffin 1 to Big Bird.
This is the pride.
You hear the captain sigh through the comms.
Sorry, there was comm static there. That's Griffin 1 to Big Bird.
This is Big Bird.
Hey, Captain. I got in touch with Tech. It sounds like they'll be clear to transport. Yes, he was on the kite. Clear to transport. We can run the relay race if you get your power to the sensors and you let what's her name, Zoe, in transporters know that we have Many incoming. By the way, I think your little friend, the sensor jock, so excited about, is holding up this little kite. So we should find a nice way to say thank you. Maybe a fruit basket.
I'll get on that. I'll have the transport ready.
All right. You give me a call when that's ready, and we'll start shuffling these folks out of here.
All right.
At this point, then, what's up?
I was gonna give Zoe a directive.
Okay.
And I'm so excited to do this. I'm gonna give Zoe the directive to prime the transport. It's just Paragram 1 has established the link that we're gonna need. Wait, if we reset the phase plasma annular intercooler, that will not only assist with the transport, but the interference from that may just play that may just play with the ions. Let's give that a go. And I'm gonna spend another 2 momentum to drop the ion trait. We have it at what? 2 right now or 1?
It's at 2. Deadly Winds is at 1. Ionic Interference is at 2.
All right, we're gonna drop that down to 1.
Okay.
I was gonna do it with my communications action as well, and then I got distracted by talking to Tech. He's very delightful, and we managed to get away with minimal passive aggression.
Yeah, there's something about the sound of terror in Tech's voice that seems to have propelled him past the typical amounts of passive aggression that you hear.
System's critical.
So with that, I'm going to give the order. We are going to manipulate the intercooler as discussed to enhance the strength of our transport beam in relation to the transport sensors that the Paragrams have laid down on us. And all of this interference should nullify the ion storm, allowing everyone to transport safely.
Okay. So mark this down. So you're at Ionic Interference and Deadly Winds. Both are at 1. Then she is going to initiate transport. Let me pull up her support character sheets. And she is going to see if she can start transporting people off of the stations. Let's see here.
Assuming I know y'all had the reserve power at the shields, this would entail it being rerouted to sensors. Transporter relay race does not work without the reserve power at the ship sensors.
So have to reroute it. Would that change the traits that I'm experiencing then, since we're lifting or rerouting power
you
from
know
the
what?
shield?
Don't get hit by lightning.
So I rolled for our beautiful, wonderful ensign, who we all cherish. Zoe rolled 2 19s.
Oh, no.
And
is there anything with a directive that you have? You gave her a directive, right, Nar? You have a talent for this, right?
I mean,
right?
The good news is I didn't pre-roll. I did not spend any threat to increase the complication range, so that's not going to be a thing. But what's up?
Hold on. I think directive does do a thing. I'm just double checking real quick.
Yeah, you might want to double check because she is a supporting character that's not being controlled by a PC right now, so she's going to answer to a different set of rules.
Also, did we have roll pride on that?
We have not rolled pride. There's no point in rolling pride because she failed utterly. So pride's not going to be able to assist either way.
Unless.
1 second. Give me just a second.
I'm on the podium right now.
I'm rooting.
We're hoping.
Zoe, I'm rooting for her so much. She's trying so hard to make an impression. And as transporter
chief,
she's making an impression. Yeah.
Certainly doing her best with what she's got. Bless her.
We're almost there, folks. We're almost there. All right. Oh, wait, hold on.
So this would be under actually.
Yeah. Let's see. Direct This may only be attempted by one character on each side in position of authority. That's me. I can spend one momentum and select the ally who can hear you. They immediately attempt a single action with no +1 difficulty, and I assist them with my control and command. So they get a free assist from me, and with my advisor roll, they get to re-roll a d20, and it removes any additional difficulty on their roll.
Okay. So they'll reroll a d20, but if if she fails this roll, you're not going to be able to assist her.
Yeah, the assistance is right. So we just gotta hope this one.
Yeah.
Hey,
So
Zoe.
I'm gonna,
Hey, Zoe. Hey, Zoe, don't beef this.
Yeah.
Hey, Zoe. Zoe.
One success, and then those assists can come into play.
I am going to spend threat to increase the complication range now that there's a reroll happening. So I'm going to increase it by 2. So I'm going to burn 2 threat. Actually, I'm going to burn an ox crew point here.
So is that 3 threat?
That's going to be 3 threat, and it make you happy.
Oh, dope. Yep. I get I get 2 determination. And I will use that determination to use my role ability, my captain ability, which essentially says, 1 second, I have all the documents.
Okay, while you're doing that, I'm gonna give a shout out to the Ox crew member who I just pulled this point from. If somebody would please roll me a d20.
I'll roll one.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Thank you.
3.
Thank you, Michael Harris, for that threat point. All right. The complication range is dropped now, so if she rolls a 17 or higher, it is going to initiate a complication. Go ahead. What are you going to say, Noir?
I'm using my commanding officer role benefit. I may spend determination to grant any other character who I can communicate with 1 determination. This does not have to be linked to using or challenging a value. So I'm going to give her the determination.
Hold on, because she is a supporting character NPC, so I need to make sure you can do that with her.
Supporting characters can use determination.
If they're controlled by a PC. They can't when they are controlled by the game master, because they are considered an NPC character. But you can use orders and such to have them, like, you basically, as a minor action, uncontrolled character will perform whatever minor actions, incidental activities are required to keep up with player characters. But if they're going to take any actions, such as major actions, they can't attempt any major action that includes a task above a difficulty level 0 unless they get the direct action from uncontrolled characters, which you did. Use the assist task to benefit player characters. They may also do so once per combat. Further, uncontrolled characters can be treated as a trait to allow a task to be attempted, which otherwise would be impossible. I did not know that. That's cool. Or reduce the difficulty of a task simply by providing an extra pair of hands. That's cool too. I did not know that. Let's see. Value. Supporting character gains a single. A supporting character gains a single value. Once a supporting character has at least 1 value, they also gain a stress track, which I did know. And then we're learning a lot about our supporting characters tonight. They're coming in super handy. And also, because this is an older ship, you guys have a plethora of supporting characters. In this case, the character begins with only 1 value. So spending it, as we are learning here, if I remember correctly, I'm just going to find where this is at. But if I remember correctly, multiple characters, sure. Next scene. Oh, this is dramatic, because if she is able to succeed at beaming them off, that's mission accomplished, basically. Uncontrolled character, combat, stress, combat injuries, become injured, blah, blah, blah. Further controlled characters, So, support during the time. Thank you for standing by for a sec. This is Funsies. No,
I can do 1 out of 2.
Against number.
God damn it, Sam.
Single value, new character, stress to avoid entries.
Sam, can I just say I'm very excited to play with you more?
We're glad to have you here.
In a campaign.
Like, no, I'm not. I hate you.
No.
I almost dropped the kayfabe.
Yeah, this is totally the moment where Noir would be in the middle of the ring and the crowd would be cheering them on as they hugged, and then all of a sudden Noir just
I get the Triple H treatment
in the middle of the ring and gets the booing. Okay.
Somebody said I got my real lawyering classes on. I love you, Lord Portico. You're ridiculous.
Portico is awesome. Portico, our resident lawyer. I'm not your lawyer. Talent reveal selected once. I know there's a rule on here. I don't want to spend the next 20 minutes digging through the character sheet. So I'm probably just going to make a ruling here and give this to you for now.
Okay,
Yeah, I've been looking through term searching supporting characters. I'm not seeing anything to the effect of use of
PCs.
determination being sensitive to the pilot GM versus player.
Well, so essentially, and if I remember this correctly, the way it that I have understood it is, if a supporting character is not being controlled by a PC, it is functionally just basically a slightly more advanced NPC at that point.
Which is what we're seeing with the tasks and so on.
But NPCs
because it was initiated from the direct action, it's Zoe as an extension of Jaren at the moment, subject to.
I'm not immediately seeing anything here that says I have to restrict that. I don't see anything immediately here that says I can't let you use a value here to give them this benefit. So I'm going to rule that you can do this, because I thought there was a rule that kind of limited the power of that, but I don't think there is, because they are a member of the crew. So I'm going to go ahead and let it swing.
All right. So yeah, then I'll have her use the determination I gave her to auto crit a 1.
Auto critting a 1. In which case, I'm going to take back the threat that I spent. And that doesn't work though, because then you can't.
Instead of
then you can't use that.
When you raise the threat, my determination went from 1 to 3. But if you take back the threat, I'll still have the 1. I'll just have to spend the 1 determination I got, which I don't mind.
No. I don't want to counteract it. So instead, what I'll do, I'll compromise here, and instead of that, I'm just going to I'm not going to burn the threat to. I'm not going to let you nullify the threat spend, and I won't nullify your determination gain. So what I'll do instead is, instead of raising the complication range, I'm going to spend that threat on. Okay, I'm going to spend that threat to activate an environmental trait. So she's going to successfully be able to beam them out at this point, because she's going to get the crit 1, which is going to give her 2 successes. So she rolled at least 1 success, which means you guys can roll your assist rolls. Whatever you rolled for assist on this will now trigger. So how many successes was that total?
Let me roll the assist.
Yeah, we didn't roll assist because we thought she was failing.
We got this figured out. We got this mapped out now. So go ahead and roll the assist.
Okie dokie.
You just need 1 success for this to succeed.
And that'll be 1 success. I rolled a 9 on a 16.
So on the button. So she manages to get transporter lock intermittently on everybody that she can start pulling off the station and start beaming people aboard the USS Pride.
Heck yeah.
However, it's not something that can happen right away. Both transporters room working at full power. She starts to work, basically beaming people off in groups of 6 at a time. She says, you hear coming up from the transporter room, should take about 5 minutes, Captain.
Make those the fastest 5 minutes you've ever had in your life.
Hi, sir.
And also, Zoe, good work.
Hi, Captain. Thank you. At the con station, you see confirmation that transporter lock is achieved and six people are beamed on board. You also hear confirmation from Commander Hada on the other side, letting you know that is currently underway and that people are lining up and getting prepared to transport over. So everything is moving along just nicely. Meanwhile, there's 2 other scenes that need to be wrapped up here. On the surface of this on the exterior hull, at about this point, you guys have reached the mark. When you reach this area of the station, you hear Pavin just exhale. Oh, wow. Okay, I think I see the problem here. And it doesn't take any skills in engineering. As you glance at this, Teon, you see this large blackened mark scorched across the surface of the hull. And You see him kind of cock his head and goes, wow, it looks like it took a direct strike, but that's weird how it got through the shields. It shouldn't have been affected. Oh, look at this thing. He moves over to this hull plating that has been peeled away from the sheer heat. And he says, what is that? Look at this. Come on, look at this.
Lean over to look. What am I looking at?
So you move over and see this pod that it basically is a transferred power unit that works for the gravimetric repulsors on the station. It's essentially like the main one of the many thousands of thruster anti-grav engines that the station has that keeps it constantly in the air. Pavin points at it and says, these things should be good for 400 years and do require maintenance. So that probably plays a role, except they're offline. There's no power. So what is that? And he points at this. Inside this removable pod, you see this glowing, arcing lightning that's bouncing around inside and just goes. It says, I've no idea where that energy is coming from. It's not coming from the station because there's no power up here. Pride, we've got an interesting situation developing down here.
All right, what do we got?
Well, I don't know how to say this, but the lieutenant and I, the commander and I just came across this. The gravimetric unit that we're trying to replace. It looks like it has power, but there's no power going to it. There's electricity that's emanating on the inside. I'm trying to get a scan right now, but the ionic energy that's coming off of this thing is wreaking havoc on the sensors, and I'm not getting a good readback. Could I get some bounce back from the Pride?
Yeah, we'll make that happen. Hold tight.
Okay.
I'd like to give what's requested.
Okay, that's easy enough and doesn't even require a roll. But as the sensor readings start coming back from the Pride, he looks at it and goes, yeah, I don't know what that is. I have no idea. But all I know is that needs to be replaced and it needs to come out. I don't see any of the energy on the exterior, so I think I'm just going to pull it. Unless you have any objections.
Oh,
Can I?
Oh, go ahead.
Do I get the readings on this as well?
The sensors are completely borked here. They just do not work. Okay. Yeah. The ionic energy here isn't even a trait. It's like the sensors just die here. They just do not function on this thing.
If you think you can handle it, if you think it's something safe to put out.
Hold tight. I'm going to check in with medical. Medical, do you have anything on this entity that we've discovered? We're about to take some drastic actions with the station, and I need to make sure that we're not going to upset the beast.
Sorry, Captain, there's not enough data. All the computer is telling us is that it's registering as some kind of plasmonic-based life form. But we're not able to know any more than that. It's not on any Federation database of any life we've ever encountered before. I'm not entirely sure what its behaviors are.
I need you to share your findings with science and engineering. I need to see if there's a power draw coming to or coming from that entity before we make any moves with the energy of the station.
I'm spending 4 threat.
Oh, crap. Okay, hold on. I got to spin determination real quick.
Hey, Tayon, are you smelling ozone? For some reason, I feel like I'm smelling ozone.
Yeah, this is really weird. It's almost like we're in the middle of a storm and we're right next to it.
You know, I don't think anything bad's going to happen to us, definitely, for sure.
All right,
I'm going to do that to me. My first episode as a main cast member, right, Eric?
Oh yeah, you're a backup character, right? I forgot to ask before we started.
I'm spending as my action as the GM right now is I'm spending 4 threat to enact an environmental hazard, and I am increasing the severity of station instability by 2. Or no, I can only do it by 1, so I'll pump it up by 1. And the station, rather suddenly, shudders, and where you are, Cadence, you see this spike in energy suddenly, and it starts to emit all of these blistering threads of energy outward, like it's becoming frantic, almost like scattering this energy. And the station suddenly just, and you all see the list go from 30 degrees to 40 degrees to 50 degrees. As it starts creeping up on 90, you see the sudden shock and alarm on Pavin's face. Goes, oh, okay, hold on. We might need an emergency transport. And he throws himself against the deck, which is now slowly starting to become closer to a standing position as the station starts to list. Inside the station, people are being tossed up against the walls as equipment begins to smash down against the sides of the station interior. The station halts. Cadence. The electricity scattering throughout the clouds like they were following after you. There is a burst of energy, and I'm activating Ionic Pulse Weaves 3. And the peregrine is immediately struck with an ionic shock of lightning. Just you see electricity play across the front of your shields, which takes 4 points of damage, and then leaps to the station. And you see it arc down to where the other ball of energy is, and scattering of electricity begins to play across the bottom of the hull, and the list stops as the station holds.
Are you calling the lightning? Is that giving you the power?
At this point, Pavin glances over at you, Lieutenant Commander, and says, Teon, if we don't pull this thing now and get it replaced, this station is going to fall out of the sky.
Okay, let's do this now then. Let's be quick about it. I don't think we can get
There's
any
a
more.
chirping of the communicator, and you hear Pavin on the comm say, Captain, we need that exterior unit beamed over here immediately. If I don't replace this thing, the station is going down, and everybody on it's going with it.
All right, I hear you. Engineering, do you got word for me?
We can beam it over there right now, Captain.
Okay. I am spending a determination to learn a special technique. And that means that I get to have a single talent that I do not possess for the rest of this scene, or the rest of the scene. And the talent that I'm taking is methodical planning, which says that when an ally attempts a task which benefits from a trait that I've created, or which represents your plan or your strategy, then I can assist them even if I'm not present. So because I've used the create trait to alter the traits of this scene, I can essentially assist everyone. And so I'm going to give the directive to transport over the part that they need. And whenever anybody needs to roll, I'll be able to automatically assist them, which will give them a free reroll on a d20.
Okay. You've called upon it. I just want to check one thing real quick, because you've burned determination once already. Isn't that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I started the mission with 2.
Mhm.
You raised the threat to 3, or you used 3 threat, which gave me 2 more back.
Right.
And now I'm spending another one.
Okay, cool.
So I still have 2.
One second, as we're getting really granular, and it's going well. And I don't mean that sarcastically. Like, y'all are really using the rules to your benefit, and it's going really well. Determination can be used to pull off extreme
After this, I'm gonna be absorbing the textbook.
content values. Each player begins with mission. You cannot.
I do like 3 STA games a week now, so I'm really putting in my reps.
Yeah.
Rule swore.
The things that my players do to me, I shall do.
Okay. So,
Yeah, I'm not seeing session limits.
there's no session limits. It just says if you're going to spend any determination, you have to do so. It has to line up with one of the values or mission directives, which
Which
does
this
sound like
very nice
you are
does.
doing.
Yep.
And yeah, no, that was the only gateway I was looking for, because I know that they've changed that up a bit. Because in the previous version, you could only ever spend determination once per mission.
Yep.
And now you can have a maximum of 3. So,
and the value that I'm using specifically for this one is plan for the worst, hope for the best.
that's a good one. Yeah. All right. In which case, so you're okay. So then specifically you are, you're getting it beamed over there right away so they can do the replacement. Okay.
And should anybody at any point in this mission need to do a task, I automatically get to assist whether I could communicate, see, or anything or not.
So this large, looks like this almost human size, like it's 1.5 meters in height. This large canister looking device is immediately beamed onto the hull, attached to a magnetic clamp. So it beams on and immediately locks onto the side of the station. And you see Pavin kind of get a little bit of a balance and reach over to it and unclamp it to the side and goes, oh. And you see with his fitness score of 9 and his security of 1, he goes, oh, okay.
I lunge forward to grab one and help.
And he goes, at this angle, I don't know that I can get that other one out and this one in at the same time.
Just keep me upright, and I'm going to.
He nods. All right, you pull yourself up. The station begins to shudder a little bit with the pride just in the background. You see this thing in front of you. You hear Pavin say, "Twist to the left and then pull. When it unlocks, the thing is going to fall free. So if you don't want to drop it, be ready."
I'm gonna follow exactly the instructions.
You twist, and it's. I need you to make a fitness check as you are trying to twist this thing. It is the energy that burned this thing out looks like it has fused wiring and some of the tech into the sides. It's like burned into the metal, almost like welded in.
Okay.
So this is going to be it's definitely going to be a fitness security check.
That works for me.
And this is definitely where Noir's assist is going to want to come into play. Because you have nothing else to help you with this. It's brute strength to try to pull this thing free.
Will athletics come into play for my focus?
Yes, this is basically a deadlift with one hand. What's up, Sam?
Taeon has the Vulcan trait. They're strong. Would that help a strength task?
Yes, I think what that would do is instantly lower the difficulty by 1.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
So you are rolling against a difficulty 1.
My sister was insufferable about that. I know
because you're a freaking Vulcan.
Okay.
You don't even bench, bro. So go ahead and pull.
I just rolled my assist, and I hate that I gave you a crit.
I rolled 2 crits as well.
Holy shit!
Okay, that's gonna pop us way up. Let's peel off a trait while we're here.
You reach down, and almost like with a rhythmic motion, pull it out. The thing, as it pulls free, there's sparks that explode and fly out with it. You manage to hold on, but you've got this other thing in your hand. It's by the sheer power of your calf muscles, the magnetic locks, and your core that you are pulling yourself, holding these 200-pound pieces of devices in both hands. You reach over and slide the next thing in and push it. There's a little bit of resistance from some of the scorched metal, but and he goes, yeah, just shove it in there, man. It's just, trust me, that's half of engineering. Just break shit and turn it.
I'll be pretty good at engineering then.
And you just you twist to the side and you hear a locking mechanism snaps into place, a beat, and then you see lights begin to pop into place and you hear and Pavin goes, Commander Pavin to Commander Hata, I don't know if you're capable of doing it at the station's position, but if you can get to a command console, you should be able to reboot the auxiliary power now and right the station. And you hear, hold please. And Pavin is like, what? Commander. What, does that mean is she doing it? I don't know. And if literally when he says that, there's this humming sound. Cadence, you see the tractor beam light up suddenly as it goes into full power, becomes this beautiful purple iridescent glow, and the station goes and begins to slowly rise above the clouds. The station above also begins to slowly tilt backwards as the gravimetric forces begin to right. The shields coming online, and you see Pavin go like this, like he's going to high five you. And then notice that you're still holding on to the same. You just reach
Raise
out
the other hand.
Yeah. Okay. You guys high five each other. There goes, nicely done, engineer.
I think this will be the last time I do anything engineering related, but I don't think it's going to go get any more exciting than this.
You watch on the view screen as the station begins to slowly right itself. As this is happening, Cadence, as you're observing still, the ball lightning at the bottom, as it's starting to change, you see it just go and start to lance upwards up the station. And it moves up above the cloud cover. It's one large electrical bolt now, just moving up.
At this point, we've finished the transports, yes? Zoe's
Yes. Yeah, I would say about 5 minutes has passed. I'd say that's fair. Probably just.
Can I join Atlas on the flight upward then?
Yeah. Particularly because at this proximity of the station, with the power coming back online, you actually are within the shield barrier of the station. And so all of the traits that would endanger you are removed. So your wing sees you emerging from the clouds, and you hear coming from your second in command, Marceau just says, "Oh, look who decided to join us."
Hey, I just figured I'd take a break in the middle of that storm. You know, I'm pretty work shy. I brought a friend.
A friend?
They're a little shocking.
You see, indeed, almost like this rolling ball of electricity kind of scorching its way up the side of the hull of the kite, reaches to the top and just sits up there and just kind of all this ionic energy playing off of it. You see the windows and the lighting around it from the power of the station flickering and sputtering as it moves across it. The Pride is watching as the kite begins to reemerge from the lower cloud cover. You see Cadence and the rest of the wing begin to join in. And just as the station's right itself, you see the kite begin to initiate its auto docking sequence and latch back onto the station. Just as that happens, Lieutenant Commander, you and Pavin looking over your shoulders after the high five, Teon, you see an enormous ball of electrical ionic energy just begin to form and roll up towards all of you. And Pavin goes, we don't want to be near this.
No, it's I think we should start heading back. It seems friendly, though.
It's coming straight for you. So it seems like an electrical storm that's about to make.
I have eyes on them. Can I initiate the transporter relay race to get them out of there?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So as you guys are kind of backing away a little nervous, this thing is approaching. You see it just looks like a wild storm of energy. It doesn't look like anything except for just this giant static ionic storm of plasma energy. And just as it's getting within a dangerous proximity is about to be reached, this blue curtain of energy immediately falls over you as you are beamed off. On the view screen, though, you see the two transporter beams activating. And as it does, the thing that had been pulled free and that was bouncing around inside the transporter, that is transported with you onto the transporter pad. So as you beam back aboard the USS Pride, as you appear upon the transporter pad, the ship immediately is going to yellow alert. You hear the alarms going off again on board the USS Pride as you are detecting a massive ionic energy power spike in transporter room 1, where Zoe is and where the two officers have just been beamed to.
Okay, I'm going to call into Zoe. Zoe, I'm getting some readings up here. How's everything looking in the transporter room?
Captain, I just beamed Commander Heaven and Commander Teon back aboard the ship. They've got something with them that looks interesting. What is that?
Okay, well, interesting is my cue. I'll be there in 5. I'm gonna make my way to the turbo lift, and I'm going up.
It just takes an action to change your scene location, but what are you doing? Don't forget to drop a momentum because you guys have changed scenes. What's up?
Oh, I was gonna use whatever momentum we had.
We
I think we're
maxed
out.
We maxed out. Yes, we're down 1 now for the scene.
So I would like to use. So I'm gonna give Zoe the directive to stay there and keep the area quarantined. That action will be attached to altering the trait mysterious life form.
Mm-hmm.
And then as I go down the turbo lift, I'm gonna go medical engineering, give me something, and that will be a second directive to remove the last mysterious life form. So that way. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, you hear Commander Conway go, "I'm on my way to the transporter room right now, Captain."
Good. We need to figure out what this thing wants and how to make it happy because it's throwing a fit and it's starting to upset me.
I have a theory.
It could be bunnies. All right, I'll see you there.
You arrive at the transporter room the same time Conway arrives there. Your chief medical officer strides through the door and immediately has her tricorder out and begins to run a scan. Lieutenant Commander, you're standing there just holding this burned out shelled unit that was a containment unit for gravimetric energy to flow through. This thing is like 100 pounds. As you're holding it, there is this electrical energy that's just erupting and like scattering around the inside of it. And Conway gives it a quick scan and says, "It's definitely part of the life form that was detected. Captain, my theory, this is the mysterious life form. You removed those 2 traits. In initial scans, I would have thought this might have been offspring, but Captain, based off of the scans of the Pride, I think it's a piece of the thing from that was on the hull. In fact, looking at the sensor readings, I think it's possible the entire storm is a single entity."
Then I need you to quickly find a way. I need you to quickly find a way for us to make it whole and make it happy.
She immediately turns to Zoe and says, "Beam that back onto the surface of the station." And Zoe says, "Aye, Commander."
I've set it down and back away from the
You put it back onto the transporter pad and take a step back. You see the transporter initiate, beaming the containment unit off of the pad. On the view screen, from the bridge, sitting at your helm station, at station keeping, Caitlin, Tavine, you watch that energy appear, and you see the ball lightning move over to it, and it sort of envelops. And a few moments later, there's just a melted husk of steel and metal that falls out of it as the energy inside reforms with it. As soon as that happens, you see it form into a more coalesced, less scattered, less static, less erratic burst of energy. And it, like a lightning bolt, like a literal blinking lightning bolt, just and the clouds all around the Pride light up. A giant iridescent blue glow forms around the entire exterior of the Pride. Just sensor interference begins to fluctuate a little bit. But the ionic energy around the station dissipates dramatically. And all of a sudden, all the turbulence, everything that is native to this world, this becomes a quiet zone, like the eye of a hurricane. Just
Captain, I think maybe we have our response. Perhaps a thanks.
Well,
It's quiet up here.
They're not beating us up anymore, so I'll take the win for today.
This is the supplemental captain's log part. Epilogue of this mission. What you learn from Dr. Kaleem Niana is that, as stated before in the mission parameters, they had been monitoring sort of a monsoon season that happened every year of electrical storms. They were going stronger every passing year as the weather patterns change. And they noticed they were getting closer and closer. This year, the station was struck by one. Extrapolating the data and all the information you've got, plus your experiences and being able to register it as a life form, you learn that Evrali comes up with a pretty compelling and interesting hypothesis. It was curious and didn't mean to damage the station. When the station began to fall out of the sky, it reacted, denoting the intelligence, and had likely been keeping the station from falling out of the sky. When you arrived and saved the station, it was able to regain the piece of itself that had damaged it. And from there, Evrali is like, that's all I've got. But based off of how it reacted and all the readings that Cadence gave us, we've definitely encountered a brand new plasmic life form, and it seems friendly, or at least compassionate. It seems like it's, I don't know, like it was looking out for the station staff, like it knew it had endangered them somehow, which to me denotes an extraordinarily level of intelligence. I think you guys have something a lot more interesting than stars to study right now. And that's saying a lot because I love stars, I'm just saying. And Dr. Kaleem is just nodding and she says, certainly not what we were expecting to find. We're going to need a whole new science team out here for this. And do you think our presence here will be a danger to it? And Evrali shrugs and says, I have a feeling if that was the case, the encounter would have gone a little differently. I think based off of what we witnessed, it's more concerned with it being a danger to you. The life form is entered into the logs, and we have an epilogue scene here as the mission close out. You guys, if you could imagine this being the end of the episode as the USS Pride having repaired the station and helped all of the people on board riding it and logging this brand new life form, now slowly leaving system at half impulse power. You, and the next episode, by the way, have a rare moment of downtime. Starfleet informs the USS Pride of a mission well done, and also to let you know that currently there is no standing mission orders outside of observation and charting interstellar nebula and such, so that you would be on standby. But essentially, you see about 5 days of time off coming up for the crew of the USS Pride. Let's cut to whoever wants to take it. Our last scene of the game, any down in the, what did you guys cleverly nickname the galley? 10 backward?
I said 10 backwards, but I said we should name it 8 backwards in honor of our under 8 minute finish time for
It's funny you should mention that. Because I just heard that we have about 5 days off, and you know what that sounds like to me? Time for another run.
I'm here for it.
Gotta perfect it. You've got some like perfectionists on this ship. We gotta do better, obviously.
If you all agree to this, I'd like Karen to call to the to 8 backwards. All the personnel involved in this mission, the Peregrine Ring, Taeyon, Taveen, just everybody hit boots on the ground. Okay.
When you're about to arrive there, just before you do, ever prompt, Commander Taeyon, as you're sitting at one of the tables, walking over and sitting down across from you is Commander Pavin. He sets down a bowl of pomik soup, and he just says, I didn't know what to order you to drink, and I know that's a Vulcan thing, so I got you soup. I hope that's okay.
Yeah, no, that's great. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. But I did get you something to drink. And he slides over a glass of synthahol. He says, well, the captain and the crew is going to be here in a second, but I thought I'd just take this moment to come over here and thank you for saving my skin out there.
Hey, it's my job. I can take care of everyone I need to take care of, and you're the engineer genius here. Couldn't have done it without you, so I had to keep you and your brain safe.
It's true. Without me, this whole thing would have fallen apart. And if I hadn't come up with a plan, then the station would have fallen out of the sky, and no one would have been rescued. So, but you did your part. So,
yeah. Well, I am here to support the heart of the team.
Well, speaking of team, he nods just as the door opens and the crew starts coming in. You see Griffin Wing filtering into the room, led by Cadence. You see a couple of the bridge staff. You definitely see Vrali, who is on a data pad right now, not really paying attention to where they're going. Everybody filters into the room, Captain, as you move in. A few of the lower deck members smile and make space for everybody. Some of the Ox crew moves aside. A few of them leave to give you guys space so that you can have this officer gathering. But one by one, you see them all filter in, kind of everyone arriving at the same time as the room starts to become a chatter. Lots of conversation.
Jaren is just gonna take a bottle of synthahol and kind of tap it on the table, take a quick sip.
Mm-hmm.
To the crew of the Pride, another job well done, and more importantly, a job done with taking the time, energy, and complications to understand a life form that we didn't know before. New life, new civilizations. That is the heart of Starfleet. We lead with insight, empathy, and curiosity. I just want to say that I'm incredibly proud of all of you today and every day since I've stepped on board. We are a reserve fleet. We don't have a specific mission in mind, so we have every mission. A daunting task to be sure, but I've never been more certain that we have the right crew for it. And to speak specifically to the Peregrine Wing, I hand it off to your commander. He's gonna step aside and make room for Cadence.
Okay.
You didn't crash. It's a new life.
Did crash.
I think as soon as Kate says you didn't crash, Tavine immediately has her glass up because she knows that's the end of their speech.
Turn and watch it to be and goes, okay, yeah.
You basically raise your glass. Everyone breaks out laughter. There's some cheers and clapping. As this is all happening, a good button for this is as all the glasses and everything raise and there's cheers, a very startled Vrali who looks up from their data pad just, it's too loud in here, and walks out. And that is going to bring a close to this episode of The Last Excelsior. I'm going to contact you guys tomorrow after the game because y'all are going to get reputation points for accomplishing the mission with flying colors and using momentum very cleverly. Drac, welcome. Death-defying station. Kind of having it all at once.
We did a huddle walk on my first episode as a main cast member. That's cool. That
was not too shabby, yeah.
Hey, you got in there like a flash. My goodness gracious. I mean, we've had our eye on you for a while, but
and you got upset about the architecture jokes. Don't even start with me, Sandal.
It's really lightening the load for the whole crew.
Oh my goodness.
Get the camera off me. I can't record. Get out of here.
Well, that is going to bring a painful end to our episode of The Last Excelsior. Thank you so much for joining us for all these years of telling stories of hope, Punk, since our days at Geek and Sundry to tonight. Thank you for all of the support and your presence and joining us for these stories from the Sally Ride to the decks of the USS Pride. We love you. Thank you so much, Ox Crew. Please vote tomorrow. We're counting on you. Starfleet needs you. Until we see you next time, next Monday night for our new episode of Last Excelsior, Hailing frequencies are closed.